Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne or
Hello everyone. Am I even live on LinkedIn? Oh, I am now. Right now. Welcome everyone. So I haven't done enough invites, but we're here. Lydia, I see you. Lydia said to also be on Team Replay. Coach Ashley, I see you as well. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for being here. If you're here, my friends, Linda, I see you too. So thank you for joining us. And I got some of my friends in the studio already. So we're good to go. There's always more Any needs to do. There's always more. I could always do more, right? It's not frustration, it's a reality of my life. But I don't mind. We're here. Law of compensation is our topic today. And I think I want a graphic that tells us what it is. I know what it is. I want to show it to you so you can see it as well. Images. Is there a simple quote that just says what it is? Does that mean having to look through? That's usually, there's many versions of that think they know what it is. But it's not. Okay, no, I like that. I do like that one. Would that pass? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I do like that one. So I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to have to create my own, right? Before we begin, let me bring my friends back up. So Professor Roxana, I see you. Michael, Miss Ramos, Prof, welcome. How are you, my friends? How are you?
Hello, everybody.
Hello. I'm so glad you're here.
Hello, everyone.
It's an interesting conversation we're going to have today. I wonder what your thoughts are, my friends. That's why I invite you to come and speak. And for anyone else who wants to join us on stage, the link is in the comments, so you're welcome to join us. If you want me to send you a link to your DM directly, then please do make your request. And I put in the comments here. Don't put it on my DM on LinkedIn. Don't put it on my WhatsApp. Don't send me an email. I don't see any of those things. The only thing I see is what's on my screen now. So do put it here. Just send me a link, please, and I'll send it. How am I meant to know what any of that means, Michael?
I'll write it out in the comments. You'll see.
Oh no! They expect me to read it and then learn it as well. Less of that, Michael. Less of that. Now, so I'm so glad you're here. Now, look, our topic it's a big one. I mean, any conversation about money is a big one always, right? People do join in. People do have the questions that I'm aiming to address today. So I'm excited. Hopefully, I can give you some tools to go away with, especially if you feel undervalued in your role, if you feel underpaid, underappreciated. If you want more pay, then I can definitely give you a lot to go away with today that you can implement in your life and your work. I guess maybe the first question to ask you is, how do you know what you're worth in terms of being paid? Does anyone have any sort of measure? Does anyone really have a way that you can even tell that you've been paid fairly?
I think that I'm gonna just jump in here.
Go for it.
Anybody tuning in? My name is Michelle Ramos. I'm the founder of Don't Raise Statistics. As far as self-worth, I feel that is a very subjective and multifaceted question. Self-worth has a lot of variables. There's some things that money is able to dictate the price. There's some things that the time dictates the value. There's, so it's really a subjective question as far as your self-worth. It's fully, nobody can tell you that.
Mm. I agree. No, I agree with you totally. There's many factors that go into this conversation, right? I think also it is something within us. I'm sure we'll come to the point in good time, Michelle. But how do you know how much you should be paid at work, Michelle? How do you know how much you should be paid in return for the work you give, the effort you put in, the knowledge you bring? How do you even judge what's fair and what's not?
As you heard that motorcycle, I'm outside. So that, can you repeat?
How do you know that you're being paid what you're worth? How do you know you're being
So, I mean, if
fairly?
we're really being honest, nobody can afford me. So, therefore, the work I do for people is free because I love that person.
Mm. Does anyone else want to have a go at my question?
Yes, can I chime in?
Of course, Professor. I would love to hear your thoughts.
Oh yeah, I don't really think that that what I have to do whenever I'm getting a new job or moving to a new company is to Google and search what I'm entitled to. But
Mm.
each time I get there, nobody tells you what others are paid. So you never know what's your neighbor is being paid, and nobody ever discusses their salary.
Mm.
No,
Yeah.
nobody
Same
discusses
thing.
their salary. I think it's an unwritten rule. It's an unwritten rule that you do not discuss your salary. And so,
It's not unwritten. It's written. It is written down.
oh wow.
Never talk about your salary. Never talk about money with anyone. Never talk about your earnings because people take it as if you're showing off or as if
Uh,
you are.
okay,
You got
so
other motives apart from just talking about your money, right?
but what I do is before I go to, if I get the job, then I will research how much I'm supposed to be paid. It has to be more than I was paid before, and it has to
Mm.
be maybe around the industry average. So the industry average is always online, but to tell you that they may not pay you the same thing that others are being paid. But whenever they give me the industry average and a little bit more than that, then I can start the job. So nobody really tells you, they don't announce how much everyone else is being paid.
Okay, so look, great response, Professor Roxana. Again, so of course I accept your points. Here's the question. Here's the question for you.
Mhm.
How do you then get paid more? What needs to
Well,
happen for you to get paid more?
okay, well, is that I'll just do my job, go the extra mile, do the job to the best of my ability, cover whatever, any extra classes I have to cover, maybe do some extra homework or lessons, maybe go over my weekly lesson plans or office hours. But to tell you the truth, I have never asked my colleagues how much they're being paid, and they don't tell me.
Mm.
Okay, so however friendly you are with somebody, they really don't tell you their. One
Yeah.
person did tell they really don't tell you the salary, and I think you said it's against the rule. It must be against the rule. Nobody tells you the salary, but I use the industry average. Whenever they pay me what I think I deserve, and then I look at the benefits, and then I'll be okay with that another until I go to somewhere else and they tell me they will give me more. And by the way, the money is not all that. The money is not all that is. I can tell you
Yes.
that.
Go on,
You do not.
tell me more about that.
I have been in a school in a company where when you get up in the morning, you have to feel, especially on Monday morning, You don't want to have the butterflies in your stomach because you're going to work. So, do you know what I mean by having butterflies in your stomach?
Yeah, of course, of course. Like you're nervous, you're anxious.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So,
Mm.
oh yeah. So I have worked with a company that paid me less, but I felt so happy working with them.
Mm.
I felt so happy working with them. They paid me less. I
Yeah.
actually left the company that paid me more, and I went to the other company. They talk to you. They include you in everything. You are included. It's
Mm.
not like, in fact, I don't want to say racism, but I have to say it.
Yeah, no, it's there. No, it's there for sure.
You know what? Racism is an unwritten rule. It's
Mm.
an unwritten rule in companies, whether you like it or not.
Mm.
Sometimes you don't belong in a group because of the way you look or your color. But when I went to this school, they gave me everything they give others. They invited me to the whatever they call private meeting.
Mm.
There were trainings that I never got in the other school. They asked me if I want to go for this training. It's free. Do you want to go? School will pay for you. I was surprised because I was in the other school for 20 years. I have taught for 40 years. So I was in the other school for 20 years. Nobody ever asked me if I will go for that training. So I thought I'm not supposed to be there. I thought I don't belong there. But when I
Mm-hmm.
went to the other school, they paid me less. But the first month they asked me, there's a training coming in. It is free. School will pay for you. Do you want to go? I was so shocked. So I signed up and I went for this training. And this training was during COVID, so I had to go for online training. The school, I don't want to mention names, but the school I was in never thought that I should go to the training. But this one actually asked me, do you want to go? Sign me up, paid the tuition. I got the training free of charge. So I just want to say this to say that it is not something like open secret that nobody tells you the salary for everybody. They pay you
Mm.
what they think you're worth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, there's many points there. I think discrimination is across the board does hamper some people's compensation.
But do
You
you
know,
know, when you are signing all those papers when you come in,
yeah,
it is written in bold letters that we do not discriminate against
yeah,
anybody. It's just signed it, but you see that discrimination coming out just in your face.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it's one of those oddities. Alas, look, what I'm going to try and cover today does not take away from those. Now, there are reasons why some people are paid more. This is the point. No, but some of them are not legitimate. I accept that. I'm sure you do too, right?
Yeah.
No, some are, discrimination is never a good thing. It's never, it's never right. It's a simple way to put it. So, but now, I guess beyond that, there's something called the 12 universal laws. This is what I'm learning these days. Hence today's topic.
Mm-hmm.
Linda, welcome. I see you. Noni Pepperoni, glad you're here as well. Michael, you in the studio. Dr. Stanley, thank you so much for being here. I will try to make your show tonight. If you've never been to Power Thinking, connect with Sir Stanley and go to his Power Thinking events. They're always fun. I think it's a fun conference tonight, so I'll try and be there. And so Dr. Stanley understands the topic today for sure because he's a mindset genius, right? Now, this is the mindset topic. The universal laws tend to be spoken of in mindset circles. Tamrat, we miss you, Tamrat. Where are you? Where are you these days? We miss your shows on Friday nights, my friend. Tamrat used to have this show that keeps us all up on Friday nights until literally Saturday morning. But you haven't had them anytime since the video era. I think I might have seen one, Tamrat. But please restart them. We like your shows. Peter, Say Popeye, the Muscle Man. Glad you're here as well.
I met him this morning. I went to a room with Lowe's.
Yeah.
I thank you. I'm glad I pronounced that right. It was so I loved it. I'm gonna go again tomorrow. And I met all of them there. They were really nice. I liked it. I can't hear you, Annie.
To myself, I was saying Luz has interesting spaces that she goes to. You know, if you connect with her, she'll invite you to places that you've never been before, that you don't even know exist online.
I know she's taking me on an adventure tomorrow again. I love doing it. I know. I get to change my I guess sleeping patterns and clock around when it becomes summer because you've got to irrigate and everything like that. So, and plus it gets like 120 where I live. So it's nice to get up really early in the morning and go hang out with her. It was fun this morning.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. So please invite me. If you find rooms I'm not in, Michelle, Luz normally invites me. Please invite me. So I'd love to come along because we all need to make new friends, right?
Yes.
Friends, you know, more is better, and adding to our network slowly but surely is how we build a bigger network.
And then I went to go brunch and last night, and then today I got to jump in to a go brunch. So they showed me pretty much it is like a mall. It's really cool. And so I'm going to go play in there tonight too.
Whose show are you going to? Which show are you going to?
It was the
or are they having you as a to come and do the tour to see the functions and all that?
No, they sent me an invite, and then they did a room just like we're doing, and it was at 12 this afternoon, and I went there for a couple minutes.
Okay, and they said you go back later for a proper tour to see what it really does, right?
Yeah, they actually DM me stuff and everything so I can go back for a proper tour. Okay. The water was running down towards the house, and I was like, all right, well, it's almost like, okay, we flooded everything. I gotta go. I was only going to stay for a second, and I ended up staying I was going to stay for 3 minutes, and I ended up staying for 45.
Excellent. Look, on our topic today about compensation, do you have a perspective, Michelle? What's your take?
I have a huge perspective. Being a waitress in fine dining, our checks were very small because in Nevada, you get taxed on everything you take out. And it doesn't matter if you get a tip or not. If you're taking out $100 plate, you're taxed on that $100 plate. So yeah, pretty much if you don't make the money, you're in the hole for taxes, and you end up owing taxes if you're not good. And there's a little catch-22 there. You're either good at it and you stick with it, or you can't pick it up, you just don't get it, at which point those people really need to get out of it because they don't understand. Once you get audited, and you do get audited in the state of Nevada, especially with gaming and anything like that, you've got to make up for that difference because you signed a piece of paper saying that, you know, you were allowed to be taxed on everything that went out. So pretty much if I didn't make $500 a night in tips, I owed money. So compensation was a very big thing for me.
Wow. Wow. That sounds a bit harsh. That sounds very harsh. You know,
it is what it is, though. I mean, you adapt and you do it. I was awesome at my job. I mean, 14 years at one place. They could have gotten rid of me pretty easy.
Yeah, look, people leave places every day, and so many people are unhappy with their earnings. That's the truth, right? Okay.
That's true.
Sorry, Michelle. Let me do what I came to do today. I'm still sending invites. If my computer crashes, please, those on stage, humor me. Let's respond, talk to our friends. Don't just sit there quietly. They would be rather bored, right? Somebody mentioned Tamara, Dr. Tanya, thank you for joining us, a wellness genius. Thank you for being here. And Dr. Tanya is many things, I guess. Summit organizer, summit host, author, event host as well with Damien. I could carry on. She's a legend, so definitely do connect with her. Margaret, glad you're here. Thank you so much for being here. All right, my friends, look, this is a huge topic. There's much I could say, but I want to try and make it simple, right? Now, let me start at the beginning. Look, there are 12 universal laws, 12 fundamental sets of law, a fundamental set of 12 laws that govern our reality. Let that sink in, right? These 12 laws explain how everything works. These laws are exact, they never change. These laws affect everything from the tiniest particles to the vast outer space, the cosmos, as we call it, right? Now, so when we understand these basic principles, essentially we can synchronize our living, our lives, our experience with the inner mechanisms of nature and how the universe works. When we work in alignment with the laws, we are happier, more fulfilled, and life is better for us. When we go against the laws, things don't work. So these universal laws are hugely important, and we have to understand them really, understand how they work for us to tap into, I guess, the spiritual element of our existence. And it's also a good way to understand some of the chaos that happens around us, right? And to find some sense of order. Am I making sense so far, my friend? Are you getting the idea of why this law, as it is so important? Now, the law of compensation is one of the 12 laws. And let me finish the introduction by saying to you, the point of the universal laws is that they give us the potential of what I can only call focused intent. They give us a platform to be intentionally creative and to show compassionate free will. When we act with intent and compassion, all that happens in our lives are positive transformations. Yay. Yeah, that's the beginning part done, right? Universal laws matter. Don't ignore them. Get to know them and get to live by them. When we do that, our lives are much better. That's the long and short of it. Michelle, are you agreeing? Michelle, are you agreeing? Michael, are you agreeing?
I totally agree on all that. We all know how I feel.
Excellent. Okay.
I'm following
Right.
along with you, sir.
Okay. Now, so you're going to trust me on this one for now, right? I'll take that. Okay. Right. Now, see, the one thing that most people want, maybe we all want, is to get paid more. We want more for what we do. And of course, I'm talking about compensation, which means reward for the work we do. Whether that's in a job, whether that's in our business, whether that's in life in general, we want more rewards. We always want more compensation. That compensation, of course, normally looks like pay, right? As Michelle talked about earlier. It's a number. We get paid an amount for the work we do, whether it's monthly, whether it's weekly, whether it's daily, whatever, even hourly. I'm saying, but there's an amount that our employer will decide we're worth. We're worth being compensated for what we do, right? Now, not everyone's happy with that amount. They're really not. Most people are unhappy with their amount of money. And if you know how many people I employ, and I'm just like, you know, it's hard to say. When I fall out with staff, it's normally because they are human. They want more money for doing less, which doesn't work. It does not. It would never work. And for ages I was bothered. I was really bothered. I was thinking, have I got this so wrong? How can I have got this so wrong? What? We're talking yesterday in one of my rooms, I'm sure. And when Coach was listening, Coach understands what I understand. Many people become unhappy after the first paycheck. As Roxana said, everyone's happy when they're signing the paperwork to say, yeah, I'm going to take the job. Yeah, of course I want the job. Of course I want to get paid. I want the title. I want the car. I want the office, all that stuff. As soon as I get the first paycheck, you can literally watch the enthusiasm disappear. You can watch the energy sap out of them. You can watch their dreams just fall away to dust. But by then I'm thinking I'm going to have to fire you, because if you're not going to, in my mind as an employer, again, this relates to the law we're going to talk about today, right? The law of compensation. So in my mind, the first month is probably it should be your worst month. It should be the month when I'm like, do you even know why you're here? By month 2, I want you to be running. You know why you're here. You know how we work. You know how everything works. Damn, do more. By month 3, I expect you to be flying past me, doing more than me, doing more than the rest of the team. Otherwise, my friends, if you're not going to do more than us, why would I keep you? Why would I keep you? I won't. Believe you, by that stage, I'm already planning the obituary for my company. If the first month goes the way I know it's going to go, the second month goes the way I know it's going to go, by month 3, I fired you. It always happens. And they're like, oh, what happened? I'm like, I told you. Remember that conversation we had at the end of month 1, start of month 2, when I said to you, I expect more? What happened? You didn't give me more, did you? No, you complained. Now you're fired. End of, right? I guess the law of compensation tells us there's a different way of being. We can do better. We have to do better, right? And so, this law, it tells us how we get paid more. Full stop. Whether you're black, white, Asian, whether you're man, woman, whether you're in a big company, small company, I'm saying wherever you are, this law of compensation works. Think of that for a second, right? And I said, let's work out how we can implement this law. That's what my friends on stage will help us do, right? And let's see, and maybe also let's see where the pitfalls are, because there's certainly pitfalls. As Professor Roxana mentioned, there's discrimination amongst the other things that get in the way. Dr. Marcia, thank you for being here. I was in your room yesterday, Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here. You always share gems, Dr. Marcia. But Dr. Marcia is one of my co-authors of the book behind me. That one, Lessons to Learn from COVID. We are just working on a website, and we're going to do more events to resurrect the book. So Coach Ashif as well. Thank you. Hello. So here with intention and attention. So one of the best mindset coaches you're going to get as well. There was a time I didn't like coaches, but now I'm blessed to have mindset coaches in my space, in my community, of being part of your community. We'll learn a lot more from each other. I learn a lot more from you, my friends. Okay. So going back to my point about the law of compensation, right? So we know we want to get paid more. And we know that this law of compensation gives us exactly how to get paid more. I was going to hold off until the end before I show you this law of compensation. I won't. I'm going to show you now. So that way we're on the same page. Mr. Cyrus, thank you for joining us. Mr. Buenavino, I don't know, you got so many vinos coming out now. There's an Oregon Vino the other day, or the organic vino, I think, is the latest one that Cyrus has out. Look, if anyone wants to sponsor or be a partner in Cyrus's winemaking business, do connect with him. If you've got money and you want to invest in a wine brand, talk to Cyrus for sure. He has to. He has the many brands, the many products, and also the book that he's created for Buena Vino, something like that. I don't know.
No, wait a minute. Does he makes wine? His own wine, Cyrus does, or he can make wine for people and someone else?
No, you're right. So he makes wine that he sells. Oregavino. Sorry, Cyrus.
Oh,
it's basically he's created a wine brand out of nowhere, thin air.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Okay, right. Congratulations, Cyrus.
So
I thought
so now he wants to get the wine made. Actually, the wine's actually being bottled on shelves, on people's tables, and in the glasses. Bonavinote. Sorry. See, my little brain, Cyrus. I'm kind of obsessed with my topic today. Anyway, if you want to invest in Bonavinote, then contact Cyrus. He's looking for a spot now for people to join to make it possible that they will actually make, produce, and bottle and sell the wines that his brand has created. So anyway, look.
I thought he was just a coach. I thought he was a coach. That's what I thought he was.
No, he's an audio specialist, but he's also, a dreamer. He's also a visionary. So
I'm learning. Thank you.
I have tried. Queen Leah, you're here as well. You cheered me up, Queen Leah. I'm glad you're here. I missed your show earlier. I was here, but I was working away. I should watch the replay, Queen Leah. I said that if someone talks money, it's definitely Queen Leah who understands how money works. So I said, if any of you want to join the studio, please click on the link in the comments on the event page. Otherwise, send me a DM, send me a message on here on the comments feed, and I will bring you up. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, so let me show you and explain the law of compensation. It's very simple. Here goes.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drama. She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.
I don't know why I've got noise.
No, there's no volume.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. Achieve success with Global.Media.
So that's
You're muted.
I didn't want it to carry on playing. I just wanted to stay on screen. So I'm gonna have to work out a way to get that done. So it's a video but no sound. How's that? So I'm just playing with Canva quickly. How do I do video? How do I do no sound? Settings, sound, no. I do not know how to take away the sound that I put on here. Right, hold on 1 sec. What's that? Cycle to clipboard. Animate, no animate. Move animations. Okay. And I don't know. I don't think I've removed the sound yet. I don't know how to do that. Let me work out quickly. All right. The slides are there. There are no sounds. Are there sounds? I have no idea. Okay. All right. I have fixed the inherent problem of the screen moving. So hopefully the screen will not move anymore and everything will stay as it should. How else can I show you this? Oh, well, I can tell you what it says if that helps. Okay, here's the law of compensation in full. The law says the amount of money you earn is always going to be in exact ratio to the number, to three things, really. That's what it comes down to, right? Those three things are: number one, the need for what you do. The amount of money you earn is always going to be in exact ratio to the need for the work you do, number one. Number two, your ability to do it. And number three, the difficulty there is in replacing you. Do you understand all of that, my friends? Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
Do you agree that is what you get? Do you agree that is what affects or determines how much you get paid?
Definitely.
Yes, I do.
Okay. If you agree, then we're pretty much there. Oh no, so the noise is still there. All right. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to change that. You can't just write on this thing either. You can't just write. You have to do. That's so annoying. Okay. So let's break it down then. See, people will pay you more if what you do is needed. So what does that mean to you and the work you do? So let me ask you a simple question. Is what you do needed? Do people need what you do? Michelle,
Yes.
do people need what you do?
Oh yeah. My boss was always scared that I
Okay,
was
so
going to get another job. So I was always given a bonus every year. And not only that, he would raise my hourly paycheck every year to make sure he kept me because I was good at what I did and he didn't have to worry about me. Because I do have a perfect gaming license, and so that meant he could trust me. And he always used to try to get me in the pit to become a pit boss, and I was like, you know what, that's just too much chaos over there. I don't think I want that. But so he would pay me just as much as them to keep me behind the bar. And exactly on the days that I wanted to work, which were the busiest days. And, my boss liked that, and it worked out perfect for 14 years. So,
excellent. Michael, how does the reality that you get paid based on how necessary your role is and your task is?
Oh, it's very real. It's
So
very real.
you agree that is the basis on which we get paid, right?
Yeah, it's the basis on which you get paid. Basically, and then on top of that, it's kind of like how rare of a professional are you? Can they easily swap you out for somebody else?
Yeah. I mean, so
Nope.
that's number three. The ease with the difficulty with which it will take to replace you.
Yeah, and that is the really tough part in my field. And so I'd put that as number one.
Okay. No, again, I'll take it. I think
All right, I'll switch it around. Yeah, because if you can't get a person, if you got a contract with the government, you can't get the person to come in and work for you. Well, you're going to lose the contract, right? You can't get some, and you really need that money as a person. So you either go to school or you find somebody who can actually do it. And if you can't find them, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you can't find them, you're in trouble, right?
And you know how it is, Annie. When
Look,
you're looking for that person who you really want, that really digs you.
You see, given that you're all agreeing, why do people have a problem with how much they're paid? I'm saying the law is pretty straightforward, right? you get paid for doing something that people need, and you get paid for how good you are at doing it, and then you get paid for the difficulty in replacing you. Pretty
May I
straightforward.
ask a question?
Of course.
Are you working to live or are you living to work?
Good question, Michelle. What are you working for, Michelle?
I
Are you
am.
working for money? Or are you working for something else? Are you working for fulfillment, recognition, impact, blah, blah, blah? Which one are you working for, Michelle?
I work to change the world. Maximum impact. Architect of disruption.
You see, I can guess I can guess the reality of the work you're doing. The reality is that no one's going to pay you for a very long time, potentially.
And it's so like the work that I do isn't about the money. So I guess maybe that's why I'm able to keep going and becoming so successful and leveling up every time, is because it's not about the financials, it's about the human impact.
Okay, right. So someone had to drop the money bomb, and it's not about money thing, right? There is, look, I'm sure those who are noble people, nice people, will tell you they're not working for the money. The money, money is money. It's a form of exchange. It's not. It's a result. It's not a thing that we do. It comes when we do things, right? I'm saying, so many of us, I'm sure we will agree here, we don't work for the money. But the money is an important reward, it's an important compensation for all of us.
Honestly, I loved my job because I was entertained. It was part of my social. I mean, I didn't really go out or anything, and I loved communicating with each other, and it was really cool just to get behind the bar and just communicate with everyone and make money doing it. Now, granted, it did become to where everyone thought I was out partying every night, but what they didn't realize is that I was the bartender. I never drank. Now they see that. Now that we're older, they're like, "Oh yeah, you were just the bartender." And it's like, "Yeah, thank you for putting my kids through school." But honestly, I would have fun, and making the money was fun, and I made it fun and worth my while, or why work? And actually, the more fun I had, everyone else around me had fun, and the more money would come pouring into the machines for gaming, and I would make tips and everyone was happy. So it worked out perfect.
Yeah, look, I can understand many of us, and I think Professor Roxana mentioned at the beginning, that we need to look at compensation on a wider scale. There's many ways we get paid at work. This is the point I think you're making, right? Many people are happy when, as Professor Roxana said, where sometimes you love your colleagues, you love the atmosphere, you love the environment, you love the work you get to do. You love the recognition you get, and maybe the status you have in your organization, in your office, in your business. Maybe you love that feeling that you get while you're there. Yeah, of course, you may love helping people. You may love delivering your service.
I loved making the money.
Michelle, you sound like me. No,
No, seriously, why would you take a job if you're not going to make any money? And if you're honestly not liking that job, I can guarantee you that boss isn't liking you either. And just
yeah.
like company. I'm surprised people made it 3 months with you, because where I worked for 14 years, my boss told us constantly, "You're a dime a dozen. Hurry up and get fired so I can help hire the next one. I'm tired of all." And that was actually at the beginning of every one of our meetings every week, because it was like that. Unfortunately, the first time people would get paid, they're like, "Oh, I only made this much." Well, yeah, you signed it, of course. And then they would complain, and he would just be like, "Well, they ain't going on the schedule," you know. And it was easier to do that and get rid of people, because people are a dime a dozen and they don't like working. And then when they don't like working, they get lazier if they don't like their job. And when they get lazier, they start talking. And when they start talking, usually the whole company will go down. That's what I've noticed.
I think there's a need to work for money. Why not? Why not? Right? You know, we need money to at least achieve the basic things in life. You know, if you use Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know, we need money to have housing, to have food, to have shelter, to have basic things, right?
Yeah, but you've also got to be willing to accept what comes with that hardworking money. I work split shifts 6 days a week. Yeah, I did lunch, and then you got a couple hours off, and then you came back for dinners. And yeah, granted, it was 5 hours just working, because you had like 2 or 3 hours for, you know, the lunch crowd, and then we'd left, and then they would open up for fine dining at night. But that didn't mean that the kids had more time to spend with me. The kids were at school during my 2 hours off. So it's really got to be worth your money to do anything. And then if you start complaining about it instantly, that sets the tone for the rest of the time you're there. If you play happy-go-lucky music in your head, la, 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 even if there's not music, so you can learn to like your job, so you can climb that ladder, you're going to make it in life. But otherwise, I always say, if you learn how to play chess, you will make it in life anything you want to do.
Yeah. Look, I think, you know, we need to understand why we want more. It's not a disease. It's not an illness. It's part of our beings as humans.
We're
So
never
what?
satisfied. That's
So,
the nature of the beast.
so what I'm learning from what I'm learning from today's topic when I did my research is that we are here to do more, right? You know, there's loads of reciprocity, for example. You know, and there's a loads of, you know, what we give, you know, we receive, right?
Yes.
So we have to be on a mission to give constantly, to give more.
But people
And
already think they've given enough to just even
no,
go out and get a job.
so, no, my point is that we're not even close, right? We
Yeah,
have
no,
to
you're
give
not.
more and more. We have to give more to impact humanity more, right?
Yes.
We have to have the mindset to want to do more, want to be more, want to give more, to receive more, right? That is a virtuous cycle. That's how humanity works. That's how the universe works.
Yes.
You know, if someone says, "Oh, I'm happy with nothing," they often think that's a good place to be, but it's not. You know, all you're doing is denying your humaneness, the humanity, really, by saying, "I don't want to do anything more. I don't want anything more from anyone. I don't want to receive anything. I don't want the universe to bless me with abundance. I just want to sit there and be destitute until I die," which is a silly way to live.
But that's how we've actually trained ourselves, though, over the, you know.
Maybe it's how we trained ourselves. Maybe. I think deep down, people are living in fear of how great they can be.
Exactly.
They're living with the comfort rather than saying, what more can I do to bless humanity? What more can I do with my unique gifts? What more can I do with my abilities, with what I know, with what I've been through?
A lot of people are nervous to come out and be laughed at or
Yes, right.
not be accepted. And, you know, hopefully they all come out of that. But I don't know.
And some just think life is truly unfair. They think they're never going to get never going to get the rewards they deserve.
They never will then.
You know, so they need to understand this law of compensation, you know, to begin to truly appreciate who they are, who we are as people, you know, and also what we value in terms of rewards, and also how to get more of that rewards, of that compensation that we deserve.
And I think that's where people get it messed up, is the rewards part. I remember my boss, for years, he would just walk by me and tell me, good job, Michelle, good job. And to me, it meant everything. And to everyone else, it was just kind of like, well, don't you wish he would give you a BIZ or a bonus or that? And it's like, what? I don't know. I don't think I deserved it, or I think you would have gave it to me. But for people to actually think that when it wasn't their situation kind of boggled my mind because I was like, well, shouldn't you take praise and then start teaching someone else what you know too? And that was one thing that was weird, is I'd been at this company for 14 years. And when I decided to leave, and I even told the owner, and they were both, you know, him and his wife were both like, all right, you know, we hate to see you go, but we understand. And they were, you know, can you train someone else? And I did it for one day because I was older than her. And no, she was older than me. And she didn't want to learn, and so I just didn't come back the next day. And I didn't teach her. I was like, you got it. She said you got it. You take it. You do what you want with it. Well, to say the least, she went to jail because it was gaming money, but she didn't want to take time for me to teach her how to do it because she felt that I don't know what it was, but then the next day when she got in trouble, she blamed it on me, and I was like, you know what? You didn't want to learn. So I'm thinking, if I was always taught, if you don't do it, it didn't get done. So
can I say something?
Of course you can. Of course you can.
Yeah, because I'm driving. I want to make sure that I'll focus. So I will leave. See, I'm just how do we apply the law of compensation to business? That's the area where I'm interested in. I believe it should be about business ethics, making sure that you are delivering the right stuff to your customers. And so when they buy from you, they will come back, actually bring back some other customers for you. Also, fair compensation. Will you be fair when your employers are happy? I mean, what the employees, your employees are happy. Be a good businessman so that your employees will be singing your praise. They will be attracting customers for you. I think also that the law of compensation will be used as customer satisfaction. So if you just do your job as a good businessman, then your products will just be selling because your customers will be satisfied. Well, remember, I'm trying to apply this law of compensation to business. I know that mostly lawyers mostly use the law of compensation to make sure that somebody who uh, was not in, who didn't do anything right is penalized. But how does it affect us in business? Okay.
No,
Yeah. So
great question. And I love, you're making good points that we need to learn, right?
yeah, what about quality? Quality matters. The quality of what you make sure that you produce quality as products. And so what you can defend, what your customers, what your
Mm.
employees can be proud of defending.
Yeah.
Okay, and employee engagement.
Mm.
So I believe that if we can apply it to any industry, it doesn't have to be lawyers only.
I
We can
agree.
also
I
get
agree.
feedback. Okay.
I agree. I
Uh,
agree. Look, so let's explore some of the questions you asked, Professor Roxana.
yeah.
Coach Ashif, I agree with you entirely. Of course, I do. So look and train for efficiency, effectiveness, and accountability towards results and rewards. There's look and train for is an important point, Coach. I hear what you're saying, and what Coach is saying there is simply that we must develop our abilities. I told you the three components of the law of attract and law of compensation, right? The three components. Let me show you again. And actually get a chance and do it properly, right? You can see on there, right? So the first law, the first part of the law says that you get paid for the need for what you do. Now, all of us would say, everyone needs what I do. They don't. Some people do, right? Not everyone needs what you do, but some people do. I guess my question to my question to anyone here, and to answer your question, Professor Oksana, is how really needed is what you do? How much people really need what you do, right? Let's face it. Look, if you are an entertainer, if you're a musician, a TV star, you entertain millions of people, right? There's a need for what you do, entertainment, right?
Yeah.
They get paid billions. They get paid millions. They really do, right?
Mm-hmm.
The person who works in a shop thinks, it's not that they think, they know that what they do is also necessary. Without them, the shop won't open, right?
Okay.
But they don't get paid a lot of money, right? So in which case now we say, okay, so the need for what you do is one component, but that's not really within our control, and almost that is the market will decide, right? The second part of this law of compensation, the part two, is your ability to do it, right? How good are you at doing what you do, really? When Coach Ashif says, look and trend for efficiency, he knows what I know, which is that the only part you can focus on these three parts of the law of compensation is part two, your ability to do it, Professor Roxana. So in
Mm-hmm.
a business, I will pay you more only because you have developed your abilities to be the best
Mm-hmm.
at what you do, to be the very best. Now you can see that most people don't even aim to be the best at what they most people don't even aim to be good at what they do. They just do it almost automated and don't really, haphazardly. Whereas if we have to care how we do it. We have to care about our ability to do that thing, right?
Yeah.
Those who are expert at what they do, those at the top of their skills level and knowledge levels in what they do, earn more by law. It's not a maybe, it's a given.
Is that not where training comes in? If
Yes.
some if you have a good employee,
Mhm.
but the person is not doing does not know how to do whatever he has to do,
Yeah.
then you need to train them up to that's upskilling. They need to be able to upskill. Just like
Yeah.
I told you, I went to a school and they said there's a new course. Do you want to go and learn how to do it? I said yes, and they
Mm.
trained me. So you can provide training for your
Mm.
if they are doing a good job, but they need
Yeah.
to upskill. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, so you can train some members of your employees. You can train
Mm,
them,
for
provided
sure.
you are good to them. You pay them very well. You are a good manager or a good businessman.
Yeah. Yeah. And I look. No, the next question I think which we are at is: am I paying you for what you know? Am I paying you for what you give, what you can do? Am I paying you for results? Three
Oh,
different things. Am I paying you for what you know because you've been training? Am I paying you for what you can do because you do loads of stuff? Am I paying you for the results? Which is ultimately what we call the value that you give, right?
I've known a lot of people that have degrees and stuff that come in thinking they should have that 14 or $27 an hour, and then they're just like, no, that's not how I was taught. I'm not going to do it that way. And the boss is like, oh, well, guess what else you're not going to do? Work.
Mm, yeah,
Just
it's
because
true.
you have that degree doesn't mean you have any experience at
Yeah,
all. A boss,
exactly.
yeah, a boss. I will tell you this about my fine dining boss. When I came in, first thing he asked me, has anyone ever taught you about fine dining? And he's
Mm,
all, be honest with me. And I was like, no. And he goes, well, then I can teach you and you can work here if you have an open mind. But if you have already learned how to do fine dining from someone else, I can't teach you because we all have our different ways. And that's why each one of my bosses, my two bosses in life,
mm,
both liked me. The one I was out for 14 years. He taught me and I climbed the ladder. And actually, I started out at the casino at their ranch cleaning horse stalls. And they saw me progressing as I was getting older to maybe when she's 21, we'll put, maybe she can make some money and everything. But honestly, I used to just babysit for the people that ran the casino. And they also had the ranch there. And my horse trainer was their best friend. So it was kind of like they were able to not groom me. I hate that word because everyone takes it wrong.
mm,
Since I'd never done it before, they were able to train me the right way for their casino, if that makes sense.
mm,
And that's why it worked out so best. So I feel if you have no experience, even though you do carry that degree, if you are open to getting the experience and not thinking about that degree, you'll
mm.
make it.
No,
Uh,
look,
ca-
it's hard to answer the question that you asked, Professor Roxanne. I don't
can
know
I
what that's.
can I answer one of the? You just asked the question, Annie.
Go
I
and go
said,
for it.
are you paying the person for the job is doing? Yes,
Mm,
you should be paying the person for the job he or she is doing. Quality matters.
mm.
It has to have the quality for to get the payment for the job is doing. Uh, uh,
Agree.
yeah.
Agree.
So if you has to do the job, for example, suppose you hired a video editor, right?
Yeah.
And the person came into your business and doesn't know how to edit video,
Mm,
then he doesn't know the job. Unless you have the patience, you can go and train him, or you hire someone who can edit videos.
yes. And
So so you
fire that one first, right?
oh
Fire
yeah
that
so
one.
oh yeah so you're paying the person for the job you hired them for. I don't know
Mhm.
why the question came in, but this person should be able to do the job that he hired to do.
I'll tell you why the question came in because I guess I'm an honest guy. ChatGPT won't tell you this bit. I tell you, here's the truth, Professor Roxana. A business will not always give you the resources you need. For example, right? For me
Mhm.
to so if I said to this video editor guy or woman, here's my brief, create these videos. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. If I don't give them guidance, they probably won't. because they won't know what I really want. If I don't give them the tools, the software, they won't create any videos. And it's not because they can't, it's because I didn't give them what they needed, the tools and the instruction, the guidance, the management. My point is that it's not always on the employee who can't do. Many people can do if you give them what they need to do stuff. Most companies don't give you everything you need, right? They give you something, and then they expect you to do, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question directly. What do I want to pay you more for? What can you do? How can you improve your abilities? Maybe the simplest way I can do this is simply I'll tell you about my wife. My wife just, she said, we're talking today. I'm like, that you're the example I'm going to use today, because she's that example, right? So my wife, she's in truth, she's a job hopper. So she stayed in the job for a few years and decides, I'm off because I'm off. And normally the next place pays her more, right? So she's been in the job she's in now for the last year and a bit, and she's like, I'm off, right? And her boss is looking at her saying, no, you've done me a wrong one. You can't just leave. And she's like, I told you I'm leaving, and I'm leaving because of the facts. The fact is, when I came here, I had one job to run a care home for you, one care home. In the time I've been here, I now run 4 care homes. HR have advised you to pay me more. You refused. Now I've been headhunted by someone who's willing to pay me more. I'm gone. Bye. Right? The point is that she wasn't focused on. She wasn't focused on any more money, and that's not really what moved her. In the time she was there, what she did is what everyone has to do in a job, Professor Oksana. Do your job to the best of your abilities every day.
Yeah.
And whilst you're doing your job to the best of your abilities, learn, develop, get better. Improve your entrepreneurial abilities. Learn to make bold decisions. Develop a strong drive. Learn to think on a bigger scale. Learn to think bigger rather than just thinking, "Oh, here's my job. I'll just do my job," right? But build your skills, your knowledge, build your impact.
Yeah.
And deliver more. Learn how to deliver more. That's called delivering more value, right?
Yeah.
Improve your professional and personal value. Improve your personal brand while you're there. Do your job so well that you become indispensable. More than that, you become the expert. That's how you go through the 3 stages of lower compensation. When you are so good at your job, where you are the biggest expert there is, who delivers more value, believe you me, you become impossible to replace.
That is true.
Like my wife, they can't replace her. They looked at her today and said, "What are we gonna do?" I'm like, "Well, no, you gave me everything I've just said is what it is, right?" She's done. Her role is necessary, of course. Now she's done more than you paid her for. This is my lesson today to everyone. If you're not willing to do more than I pay you for, you're never gonna earn more money than you do now. Think of that for a second. If you're not willing to do more than you're being paid for, you are never going to earn more money. Think of that. That's the truth. I realized that once I started working with Don, I learned about mindset. The fact that the reason of my business is what it is, Michelle Ramos, I'm telling you especially, is because I'm willing to go the extra mile. Professor Roxana said it earlier. I wanted to give my clients more than anyone else, more than even they expect. That's how they pay me more. That's how I can pay my staff more. But unless my staff are willing to do more than I pay them for, then this whole lovely cycle breaks down, right? So entrepreneurial capabilities is one thing they can learn, Professor Roxana. We can all learn that. We can all learn to take more now, to explore more opportunities to learn, to acquire credentials, to build specialist skills in our niche, right? A business will pay you more when you learn from new experiences, when you
Yeah.
bother to go to conferences, trainings, do courses that give you
Mhm.
different points of view. Experiences that give you a chance to learn leadership qualities, right? Yeah, as I mentioned a minute ago. Some of those leadership qualities is about overcoming obstacles, broadening your horizons, improving skills like emotional intelligence, verbal communication, creative problem solving. So these are skills that are not task specific, right? They're skills that we need, but they're broader skills that we need. Resilience, responsibility, maturity, having a strong character, you mentioned ethics earlier. That's important. Now, people who can truly create and live by the highest ethics. The highest ethics is not rocket science, my friends. It's simply being of service to our customers in the right way. That's what ethics really are. Doing the right things at the right time for the right person. That's ethics, right?
Yeah.
Right. Those who are willing to learn those skills, to become those people. Those of our staff who want to develop connections through networking, through mentoring. They want to broaden their network. They want to broaden who they know in a way that will benefit our company, our clients, our colleagues. These are the ones who get paid more. See, the one thing I want to say about those who get paid more is that they stand out. When you say you go above and beyond, Professor Roxana, there's something there, right? It's
Mhm.
about the way we offer more, the way we go above and beyond. It's not always in our task. We could do our task, half asleep, right? But we have to be willing to give our colleagues help, serve our colleagues the same way we serve our customers. In HR, in management, I guess we talk about internal customers and external customers, right? The people who pay your bills are the external customers, but you also have internal customers, people who are part of your upline, people who are part of your downline. Are you with me? People you supervise and people who supervise you. I'm saying they're part of your customers. You must give them the same amazing treatment that makes this company work efficiently and helps us deliver more. Right?
Once you treat your employees right, they will go the extra mile for you.
Will they?
Yes, when you treat your customers right, and
Will
even
they? Are you sure, Professor
I,
Roxana? Are you sure?
I'm sure
Okay.
that if that person is a good person and does the job,
Yeah.
I already said that quality matters. If there's
Mm.
any house development, any training, you give them all the training, you treat them right, you involve them in maybe meetings, some social responsibility, they will take care of your customers. They will do the customer satisfaction, they will do the job because we are human. And if you actually
Michelle. Okay, no, I hear you loud and clear. Michelle Ramos, let's talk to you.
And what do you want to talk about?
Do you agree with Professor Roxana? Are people minded to behave and to do the right thing for the customers always?
Again, that's subjective. Again, I feel well. I'm gonna only
From
answer for myself.
your experience, are people minded to give their best at all times and to do the right things? Yes or no? It's a straight
No,
question. It's not
no,
rocket science question.
no, no.
Right. So
well,
thank you.
well, if they don't, then they have to go. If the
Yeah,
person don't,
they should. They should. I agree. They should for
yeah.
sure. I don't know who's calling me.
If the
Journey,
person
I
is
see you.
unteachable, if the
Yeah,
person is unteachable, then they have to go. Otherwise, if they do their good job,
yeah.
then I don't see how that's going to be a problem. But if an employee refuse to go get some upskilling, if they have to refuse, then they have to leave. But if they do a good job, yes, that's what I'm
And
trying
look,
to
and
say.
I agree with you. I mean, so a lot, but we tend to see the opposite, Professor Roxana. What we see is people who they stay, which is a terrible thing. They stay, right? That's awful.
Hmm.
I wish they would leave, but they stay. And then
Yeah.
to make it worse, they stay and they keep harming our customers because they do as little as they can and they behave in a way that's not ethical. Look, let's go and look. Let's look at one. I think the one thing I really want to cover today, Joni, I've just sent you the StreamYard link. You, of course, would love to have you on stage. Coach, I do see you. Of course, we'll come to you in good time, my friend. Glad you're here.
And
Right.
can I please leave? I'm driving. I need to get to
Yeah,
where I'm
please.
going. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. You've been a star. Thank you
Okay.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Professor Roxana.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Queen Leah, I agree. Give more value than you charge for. I totally agree. That's the only way you're going to get paid more. I can't say that enough, right? Look, let's look at what it means to be that person who does something that is needed. I think we're very good at the technical side. I think we can focus on. I probably want you to, if you want to make a list and score yourself, please, do so, right? So just write. So the point I'm making, I'm putting down. I'm saying now, and just rate yourself. Okay. The first thing we need to understand in this conversation, my friends, is your true self-worth. What are you really worth? It's not a rocket science question. It's a real question.
What do you want me to be?
Right. Okay. I want you to. I really want you to look within yourself, right? Now, genuinely look within yourself, your soul, your being. And I guess give yourself like a rating out of 10, Michelle. 1 for very low, 10 for 10 out of 10 for being as high as you can be on these things, right? So how would you rate yourself on the genuine smiles that you share? How would you rate yourself on your friendliness, your kindness?
90%. And I'm not going to lie or deny this. My boss will even tell you there was certain people that he couldn't have me serve because I overwhelmed him. And I respected that. But there was other tables to where he'd be like, Michelle, I need this, this, and this done, and I need that table done right now. And I'd be like, all right, I could go do it, whip it out real quick as I am. But then there was other tables that were just like, whoa, she's too much. We're never going to come back. And it was just, and it wasn't because I was a feral spider monkey and I jumped around their head or anything. It was the vibration I bring to the table. And that's
Right.
okay.
Now, let's hold on to that. Again, it's very easy when we have these conversations. What are you worth? People tend to come out with the skills that they have, right?
Yes.
Knowledge that they have, qualifications. I'm saying, I think you just hit the nail on the head there. It's their energy, the vibration, it's who they are as a person. Like I said, I just said, now how much do we smile at our colleagues? And also, how you doing, Joni? And also, how helpful are we as colleagues?
Sometimes I wasn't help at all because of my vibrations, because it was over. I am always happy. I don't like being unhappy. I can find the good in anything and laugh about it. Oh, the guy's head just got chopped off. But look at it this way. At least he had life insurance and his wife's going to be okay now.
The people who are indispensable, people with their business needs must be.
Yeah.
They must have the qualities to work here. And our coach is probably thinking culture already. But it's more than that. I think they have to love what we do, and they have to love being part of the team. you know that saying, you know, a rotten apple spoils, a rotten apple spoils the barrel, right?
Yes.
Right. One rotten apple can ruin the whole barrel. So we need people who are good colleagues. They like no. We need people who are willing, who know how to work together. They want to work together. They want to help each other. They want to be part of a team. My team, especially. They want to be. Are you with me? You know, that all counts.
You got to understand their part on the team, just like I did with my boss. I never took it personally. He'd be, you know, and he would sit someone in my area because they really liked that table since it was the country club and you could look out through this beautiful bay window and see the rest of the country club. But there was a few that, you know, they were like, you know, she's nice, but you know what, every time she comes towards it, you know, and it was just like, you know, I respected that. You can't get mad at that. And it was really cool because Christian, my boss, knew that I never took it personally. So he would always, he would kind of make it a joke with me to make me feel better, but he always knew I understood because he always knew I'd make it up somewhere else. All right, Michelle will stay late and clean up since she couldn't take that table. And I would stay later and I would even do dishes or something like that. So I could still get my, hours of tips in. And
that all counts. That's it. That's usually important. And that's Queen Leah. I agree with you. I always under promise and over deliver. Again, this is a way of being. This is not your technical skills. This is a way of being. Are you that person who's truly one of us? Who's truly indispensable here? I want to meet you quickly, Cyrus. You're very loud in the background. Joni, you're an employer, so I would love to hear your take on what I'm sharing so far. Coach, of course, I want to hear you too. So,
who is
that's Cyrus.
It's amazing. It's an amazing picture. I love it. And Michelle, oh gosh, your hair looks really good. I mean, for a blonde girl, you did a good job. All right.
I don't ever curl it. Actually, I just take a shower. I'm lucky when I brush.
Like you got good hair, all right? In case you can't see that, all right? We're just laughing here like girlfriends.
Right.
And
Joni, answer now. So for my question, how do you judge a good worker?
For my guys that I employ, so legit, like I pay them under the table. So that's what I do. That's a painting business. But honestly, when Trump put a lot of his like tariffs and like stuff into place, painting companies popped up all over the place. All over the place. Everyone was like, yeah, I can paint. And that's kind of what I did too. And so it is challenging I remember the three things that you said, but to really be an expert in your field. So I think for me in construction, I can offer expert advice in a lot of different things, whether it be, HVAC, drywall, woodworking, whatever it may be. So you got to showcase the whole thing before just starting in on one in residential construction. That's just what I know. And I can see that with Leah, for instance. She really knows her game about financial investing. And she's like, no, Bitcoin is cherry on the top. And that's true. Like if people try to get into like quick investments, and it's almost always not the right.
Yeah. I've been burnt many times, so I don't go anywhere crypto anymore. I really don't.
So someone who wants to open a publishing company or start, you know, doing, I don't know, ghostwriting. Like you have to have the experience behind you. And so for my company, you know, I put in the years to do it. And I put in the research to do it. I know how to pull permits for the different counties that are here. I know that my degree will follow me. But also, you know, for anyone starting out, it's so scary to take risks. And don't stay in some stupid job that you don't like. Don't do it, because it will, you have one life. And so you do have to take chances in the beginning. And then you have to be smart about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. No,
yeah.
that's that. Joni, no, look, do you know those on stage and those in the comments? Let me welcome Dr. Lisa first of all. I can't afford not to welcome superstar Lisa. Thank you for joining us. Glad you're here. I don't care how late you are. You're not really late. You're here, right? And Queen Leah says, employee versus entrepreneur, two different conversations, in my opinion. It's true. Now, two very different conversations, really. You know, a lot of people think like employees. The point I'm trying to make to you is that if we want more in the work, if we want to get paid more, we need to realize that we have to build this thing called a personal compass, right? That personal compass, really, you know, basically it's about who we are, who we be, as my friends keep saying, right? What now the principles that we live by, that we work by. You know, they're going the extra mile. They've been of the right character. They're being
Honey, right? Like I'm like your wife.
They're being of the right spirit.
I job changed, like because I wanted to get higher up. I wanted to get more experience. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's no. Look, no. It's not a bad thing.
No,
It's a good thing. It's a good thing, Joan. It's a good thing, right? You know,
yeah,
I guess
I think that, like, the ambition has to be there, and entrepreneurial spirit, which was what you just highlighted from Leah, versus like feeling like an employee. They are very different. Like it's hard. It's hard to be like a business owner and learn all the things about taxes and managing people and managing timelines and whatever. But I do think that for me, just me, I switched between a bunch of different construction jobs and I kind of did it.
Yeah, no, you did. I'm saying, right. To do what you've done, Joni, there's, you know, let's accept and let's acknowledge what you've worked on, right? Number one that you worked on, which I'm sure, you know, I don't know whether you recognize it or not. I'm hoping you recognize it. After today, I'm certainly hoping you do, right? The first thing that our employers look for is character. You know, and I remember Coach David was talking yesterday about this expert in the company he used to run, the one who was drunk by 10 o'clock in the morning. That's not good character. Jane is scared. She actually flinched.
That would be. I mean, I have a crew that works for me. They smoke pot all day long. They literally are. They're my pot smoking crew, and I'm like, all right, bros, you do good work. Fine, I'll give you your, 1,500 at the end of the day. But I mean, yeah, it depends on the industry. I certainly don't want anyone drunk. That's
right.
That's a no. I don't really drink myself, so
no, the character is one thing. Now, your character carries a high evaluation for others, whether you like it or not, especially when we're paying you for work. You know, if you don't have the right character, I'm not going to pay you more. The chances of you even lasting a minute in my company is pretty much none. The second thing I would say that we look for that you can work on yourselves is your spirit. Are you a cheerful person? Are you a helpful person? Are you here with the right intention?
And see, that's where she cornered the market, Joe did. Not only with her looks, she came in like a boss. And I'm going to say this, Joe, because you have kids. You knew how to wrangle people up, right? Like you pretty much knew how to, you know how to wrangle your kids in to get them into the kitchen without them even really realizing it, right? So you were able to bring that to the table with your workers too, without them even realizing it. Okay, well, these ding dongs over here is, I know what to do. And you just kind of whistle the other way, shake the little booty, you get their attention. They're like, oh, the boss is still here. We got to go back over there and we need to do what we're supposed to do. And
I
so
mean, girl, you're so nice.
You're being mean about her. You're being
no,
mean.
what I'm
And
saying,
I know
No,
you
so
get
you're
mad.
not. Yeah, I
no,
recognize
Hold on,
everything she's
hold
saying
on,
about
hold
me.
on,
I
hold on.
really
Hold
do.
on.
if she's
There's a
got
It's
the
reason.
important.
There's a
It's
reason I'm
important
interrupting
to
you.
like be a female and something female empowered and elevating yourself. And so, you know, if they're like, el jefe es mujer, punta. And then you actually show what you can do, and you're like, okay, yeah, I don't care about the objectification. You keep your hands off me, but like still, like it's not, it doesn't make me feel sad. Michelle is saying exactly what I agree with.
Right. I'm saying to you that I'm not disagreeing with Michelle on the superficial level. I'm saying to you, but deep down, what you are, who you are, is based on certain things. Your looks is not one of those, sadly. Your gender is not one.
attitude.
Yes,
not one of
it
those.
is, Annie. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Oh
the
my
attitude
goodness.
It's
What
not
are you
for the real
talking
world.
about, bro?
For the
The
real world, it's
attitude
not.
goes
That's
with
such
the
a male
word.
thing to say. Of course, women are objectified by their looks. Oh, this is a whole nother conversation. But all right.
No,
Yes,
I
basically
do
right.
believe using our looks is not bad at all, because I've had men.
It's awful. I
push
don't look at. I can never look like you. So if that's someone's standard, it's not going to work. Let's be
No, but
sure.
if you are nice and you are
It
beautiful
Right.
at the same
Okay.
time.
Right. Let's stay down that road.
All right, we're
Michelle.
gonna keep on your
Okay,
track.
we'll go
No,
anyway.
that's not true, Annie. That's
Listen,
not true.
character, spirit, talents, and humanity.
Of course,
Maybe
yeah.
someone with a strong sense of
But men
self-awareness,
are
someone
better
who can
set up.
manage themselves, the emotions,
Come on.
the energies, all of those. Those are what count.
But emotions are good.
Absolutely. No, emotions. If you don't manage
Emotions are
them,
really good.
Well,
All right.
it's good if you can
You
manage
know
them
what? I
and
want
use the
Coach
right emotion
David
in the
to
right
weigh
space.
in on this.
Anyway, look, this is your personal compass that you must understand. A lot of people will approach an employer or the market and say, "Oh, I'm worth a lot, so you pay me more." Don't realize that without the personal compass, they're not even started. And the reason that it's so important that we understand our personal compass, who we are, who we be, is because your pay is essentially external validation. You must believe who you are as a person. You must. If you don't, then you don't have a sense of self-worth. You don't. Or at least you're using your self-worth on different standards, which doesn't apply in the real world. It might apply in your world, it might apply in some things you've seen, but the rest of the world is not going to judge you by how you look, whether you're a man or woman. Some will discriminate, don't get me wrong. I'm saying that's not how I choose my employees.
I'm just saying her vibe goes well when she goes for jobs. Her vibes go well, and then also her looks jive with her vibes, and so she's a double sword. She can either turn it into an evil sword, or she can turn it into something, or the sword to where she wants to get the job. And that's empowerment right there. That's owning it.
I agree. Look, I put her, even what you're saying as part of her character, part of her spirit, and the vibe that she brings, right? But I think we need to understand that we need to somehow be able to confidently express our creativity from our souls, with these personal characteristics that we have. Those who can be the person who's needed, the person who can do it so well, you're indispensable. The person who does it from the soul, they're paid handsomely every time. Every time. Bear that in mind. They're the ones who get paid loads of money because they're valued.
Can I say something?
Of course, Coach, go for it.
All right. So all the conversations, totally, I agree 150%. Michelle B, Michelle Ramos, Johnny, Cyrus, you guys are superheroes. You're on the money. Michael, welcome. Good to see you. You're on the money. All things you've been saying, Professor Roxana was listening outside. I think I agree. And I'm sorry I have to leave shortly because it's almost midnight in the UK. So forgive me, I have to, dive into a few other activities. And I'm a night crawler. But however, Johnny, good to see you. Thanks so much, Michelle B. I'd just like to say a few things. Whatever the job says as a job spec, there's no negotiation. Ultimately, the business was set up to make profit or by the shareholders for a reason. We as employers and managers can motivate, we can train, we can teach, we can do everything. But at the end of the day, performance and productivity is not a maybe. That's how life works. When our eyes isn't functioning well, we go to the optician or optometrists and they repair it and they get the job done. What if the optometrist now? Oh, okay. What if the optometrist now, give you a pair of glasses that's not working? You go back there and they get it fixed. It's not working. It's not fitting. There is talent and latent. Talent means what is used to deliver a result in this case. And I'm sorry, I used that used. I use the word used. Human beings are not supposed to be used. I'm sorry about that, but that's me just saying straight from the heart. You have a job to do, you get the results, and all of that. At the end of the day, somebody's going to pay for the errors, the mistakes. It is denominated in the profit and loss of the enterprise. So back to the question of value. What is value? That's it. What is value? How did we calibrate value? What is high value, mid value, low value? At the minimum, what is performance, non-performance? We are not sure. So what is value? It is defined. And how do we calibrate it? How would we reward it? And eventually, how do we multiply it? Or how do we cut our loss as a learning experience? And, we go look for stuff. Now, before the day an employee arrives at work, the person must already carry value. There's really no problem that cannot be solved. It's more of the attitude that's the problem that we cannot deal with. If the attitude, someone that can't even learn, someone that can't even take, I have some behavioral patterns that is a no. There's nothing you can do about it. You're not a weak CEO. Like Cyrus said yesterday, you got to need to go up the ladder yourself. And there's no time. There are 10,000 people in the same market who can give you the results you're looking for. Why are you in the wrong car? We're going to motivate, we're going to train, we're going to do all the intervention. Ultimately, value is king. And you mentioned internal customers and external customers. If I can't get value from an internal conversation, how are we going to treat outsiders? And by the way, image is part of professional etiquette. How you look, how you sound, how people feel about you. The higher you go, the more these things become very important. In the beginning, it may not matter. But as you begin to grow in your career, people must feel they want to work with you. There are people that are bullies. There are people that are very effective, but they are bullies. They're going to end up as senior professionals. And at the end of the day, you take the value and don't want to talk to them again. There are people you see. I've got a very strong barber in Lagos, and I'd had him since 2007. If I'm in Lagos today, all the days from when I could do the punk till now that I have to be like any, where I am semi-bald, so I have to skin it all, painfully so, because I don't like to be like any. But you see, I got a barber who I always go to Lagos to see, because we'll sit down and we will gist. When he finishes barbing for me, I will pay him extra, because there is a feeling. Because what he's selling to me has gone beyond just barbing my hair. I could do that at home, but he's a brother. His name is John. I have another eatery or restaurant where I eat, because they have the staff that right next door, there's somebody who has slightly better offer in terms of the dish. But the service that the staff in restaurant A gives me brings me there. Based on the business model, I must hire people who have very strong customer service etiquette, who have the smile. I used to go to an eatery in Lagos many years ago, and there's a young lady whose queues are very long, and the next person, the queues are very short. I'm not playing. Anytime she's on duty, the queue is always very long around her. And so one day, I'm a social scientist. I love to watch things and observe. I went there to sit for 3 hours. I put a meeting at that restaurant. I just wanted to see, it's a takeout, just to see how she's behaving. And if I had a customer service job, I will hire her. There's an attitude. She goes to your daughter or son, and you have a toddler with you. Hello, how are you? Then she brings sweets to work from a mega salary. And then she takes the sweets, and then she gives the young girl. And so the children keep disturbing their parents. They want to go to the store because they're going to get free candy. Now, I keep started getting longer, and she has a smile, an attitude. She knows the name of your daughter or your son. Oh, she said, Michelle, how is that your little boy? How is he not two now? And she's serving you quickly. She's doing everything. You want to be around her. About 3 months later, I was going one evening about 10 p.m., and they're the only ones open. They close by 11 p.m. And I said, oh, where is this lady? I think her name was probably Augustine or something like that. I said, oh, she got a job with a bank, GT Bank. And that she's now customer service in a bank from a salary of just about 20,000 naira to about 220,000 naira. When you do well on your job, you acquire higher skills, and it's a matter of time you're going to go to a bigger place. So if you're an entrepreneur who is paying rent, you're not an excursion. You're burning rent. You're burning stuff. Why are we here, for example? Some lazy person will even find it difficult to even watch the replay. Find it difficult to scroll back on the screen just to listen to things. Why are we here? Everybody here is busy. Why are we always want to contribute value? Why am I awake at night? Somebody asked me, you do another certification? Yes. Why are you doing all of these things? I started laughing. They can't understand, because you just want to be valuable the more and the more. The less value you have, the more the world will commoditize you. Sorry, I'm speaking for too long. I said I was only a minute. But seriously, at the end of the day, productivity is king. We can't run anyway from it. Thank you. Our kidneys, our livers, our eyes, our ears, our teeth. Imagine your teeth cannot bite cake. What's the use of the teeth? So,
no,
apologies.
Thank you so much, Coach. You stole my notes. I can see you stole my notes. I mean that sincerely. There's many things you say which I think are so important. I'll address that. Thank you. If you have to go, I understand, of course. Thank you for joining us, for sharing. Omar, Mr. Zoom Party, glad you're here. Thank you so much. So Coach Ashif says, soulful looks are gravitating. Some looks can be compelling, but when you run a business, you can't afford to work to even take notice of people's looks. Otherwise, you get in trouble, right?
And can I just make a 30 seconds comment? I agree. I agree that soulful looks pull more, but it's also a type of value. It's a type of value. However, it's also criminal for you to come into the room. In my days when I was interviewing, it's criminal for you to come into the room like the one we're looking for, only for you to open your mouth and your tenses are everywhere. You appear like the doctor, or you appear like the engineer, or you appear like the customer service expert, or whatever. And then by the time you start performing on the job, your image is a far cry. You have over-postured beyond your delivery. You have set yourself up. You're a fraud. It's a fraudulent attempt. So looks can sustain the beginning, but you must please have, it's okay to look like the world. It's okay to look like a rock star in terms of professional look and feel. If you work in professional services, you work in consulting. You can't afford to be a drunkard. like the guy yesterday. But however, because I can't trust my numbers and my future to your drunkenness. But if you are in the creative industry, oh man, you are able to do all these things, provided the result you give me breaks the clutter. Because when you're in the creative world, there's some enfant terrible character. You need to be an outlier behavior to succeed there consistently. To be a creative director, to be a copywriter, to be an art director, you got to always be in a certain high mode. That job requires that. But whatever job you do, you look nice. Let's say at 8/10, but don't do work that's 1/10. It's a mismatch. You're trying to defraud us by your look and feel. So that's my. It must be true. It must be true. If you select 7 as your number, your dressing must be 7, your speaking must be 7, your delivery must be 7, your acting must be 7. It must be through the line so that there's congruence of resources. And there are also people, who are totally overconfident. They don't know nothing. They really think they know a lot. Those are also another category because they've been to a few schools and done a few degrees. I mean, you'll be really. There are people who think that the MBA they had in 1972 or the MBA they had 2 years ago means anything in the real world. Is the results. What can you deliver? If you write for me, just write 10 lines. See one of my beautiful examples. I give people a piece of paper. I say, write 10 lines about the weather. Okay, make it 20 lines. I just want to see, there's a skill I'm looking for. I want to see your ramble. Or I tell you, speak for me for 10 full minutes about the worst day of your life. I'll just be listening to you, just looking at you. There's a lot of things I'm checking for. People are not even ready. The examinations of life and success have no timetable. The day you're going to be tested for the next level, you might not even have a script. The question is, did you show up ready? Look, I'm your boss, in quotes, or I'm your manager, not your patient. The patient is patient because it requires a service from the doctor. In terms of business, the board, the management is waiting for my result. People put money and investment in the business. At some point, I must cut my loss and I must stop being a patient who is patient and we must switch the flip. Not easy for a very kind person. Do you know there's employee weaponization? Why people really weaponize your kindness? They know you're a kind person. They now start buying sentiments, start lying. Oh, my dog gave birth yesterday. Apologies to all those who have dogs. Or my chicken is not feeling fine. Therefore, the entire family is. This happens a lot in Africa. There are people who now use familiarity and familiarity. You did a mistake. You begin to prostrate. Prostrate how we greet in Africa for the people for context. You see an elderly person, you prostrate. No, don't prostrate. Deliver the job. Oh, hello, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It rained in our area and my wife just gave birth to twins. Glory to God. Congratulations. I can even send you a gift. Deliver my job. He's a very callous boss. No. Deliver my job.
That's what I want.
It's very insensitive. No, please deliver my job.
It's not insensitive. Look, I wanted to say, actually, Coach Ashif's point, we need to bring our true skill set, confidence, attitude, devotion, and delivery. These are the things that provide precious value. We need all these things. We need to bring all this to our job. Those who don't bring this full set of things, this things Coach David is talking about, you'll get found out. Of course, you'll get found out. And the bigger issue for me is that you don't believe. If you don't believe you have these things that in the way that we need in this company, in a way that serves our customers, you're not giving value. You can't give value. If you for 1 second think in your head, am I really that person? You're done. You're done in this company because you clearly, and you're done also in terms of getting compensated in the highest amounts. The one thing I want to leave you with today is to understand that you deserve to have the highest level of compensation. You deserve to be recognized as the greatest there is. We all do. But to do that, my friends, we must follow the law of compensation. Make sure what we do is what people need, number one. and then make sure that we are so damn good at it that we become indispensable. Irreplaceable is the word. This is the other word for it. You know, this is not fantasy. This is reality. So, I do understand there will be some variations. You know, Coach mentioned something I think is really important. See, if you are this person that we're talking about, the person who has this role that is necessary, and you're so good and you're indispensable, then begin to create what Coach mentioned, a personal brand. Begin to dare to say, here is what I believe. Here is how I live what I believe. In other words, you have to align your efforts to your ideals, your values, right? When we do that, when we live and work in line with our values, and we'll give our best at all times. Take it from me, naturally, you will see the results, and also you will grow as a person, and then you will get the rewards, the compensation that you want. If you just live your true self, your true abilities, your true person, compensation is guaranteed. But you must develop that personal brand. In other words, showcase your worth, right? You know, and endeavor to be seen, to be heard, to get more recognition from more people for your efforts. If you do good work, no one sees it. What am I to say? Wow, sorry about that. I'm not going to pay you more because you're a nobody still. I'm saying let's stop enjoying being nobodies. Let's share our area of expertise. Let's share our passions. Let's share our unique perspectives, our unique solutions. Let's be brave enough to say, "This is me. I am that guy." My son says, "Dad, you're not that." I know. I say to him, "I am that guy. I am the any." You know that one that everyone knows? Yeah, that's me. In other words, I'm not shy about who I am. You know, create a clear identity of who you are. Create a clear image that everyone understands and everyone can communicate in it. And an image that tells other people, this is me. This is what resonates with me. This is what my clients need. And I am that guy, that girl, that lady. I am that person, right? Don't be scared about sharing your story. You know, don't be scared about giving people an insight into who you are and where you've come from. See, part of your character, part of who you are, who you be, comes from what you've been through. Use those experiences to foster connections, to build those connections with customers, internally, externally, with stakeholders. But your personal brand must be that person who builds genuine connections, as we said, has a right mindset, and provides outstanding products, outstanding services, content, and interactions that make everyone go, wow. Really wow. Right. You know, I say all that because I know everyone on stage has that personality, with those people, right? You know, so I think I want us to embrace that part of us. Now,
I embrace it, Annie. Unfortunately, just before I got on here, though, Lydican's not embracing it and letting me comment again. So
that will fix itself in good time. That will fix itself.
I know.
We know it will fix itself, right?
You've got to honestly believe that you are your biggest asset, and you really got to believe in yourself, or you're not going to go anywhere. And
truly, you know, can I add one more point quickly, Michelle? And then I'll shut up and let Sarah speak as well. Look, you know, let's be the person who understands that our pay in our job is not necessarily the only financial reward there are, right? I said, if you're this person this person who builds relationships, this person who has a personal brand, this person who does incredible work, you will attract money from various sources. Partnerships, collaborations, speaking engagements, book deals, more. You are not, is it the fact that you are this special soul who every business needs doesn't mean that you are a transaction. Doesn't mean that you're simply there for the money, right? You must be on a mission to do the right thing. And the right thing, my friends, is quite simple. Live your purpose, right? You need to work out how all these qualities you have, all these things you've been through, can genuinely address people's needs and make their lives better. If you can combine the person with that simple intentionality, being existing simply to address people's genuine problems and make an impact that's going to be long lasting, I guarantee you the money will come. Money follows. Money follows. If you do good work, give lots of value, money will come. If you have to start poor, if you have to start free to start, to get started, so be it. I'm talking about the money will come in good time. If you do good work, the money will come. If you make a difference in people's lives, the money will come. If you make yourself coachable, as Coach Ashif says, you keep learning, you keep developing, you keep getting better and better, the money will come. It's guaranteed. Do you know why? Because the law of compensation says, if you are that good, and you do something people need, and you become indispensable, you will get paid more. If not necessarily in my company, in another company, someone else will pay you more. Hell, you go and do it yourself. Run your own business and earn even more. I'm saying you have to believe in the law of compensation because it's how we live. It's what guides all of us. Let me stop talking. I've talked way too much, right? Like Ashley said, authenticity pays the pass. It definitely does. It definitely does. Henry, thank you for joining us. Thanks for sponsoring this super important conversation about compensation, packages for LinkedIn content creators and wordsmiths. There's so many compensation boosting approaches that other gig workers have used successfully that weren't covered. I agree. Look, this is a huge topic, and I choose a topic for our event, and then when I turn up, I'm like, when I do my research, I'm like, this is so big, but I don't like breaking things up too much. I'm giving you just the surface materials today, Henry. Now I'm just giving you very basics. I may find a reason to delve more into one or two of the topics as time goes on, but today I want everyone to just understand that your personal compass matters. Who you are as a person matters. It really does. And your intentionality about giving value matters. And you give value in many ways, not just one way, right? It's part of who you are rather than anything else. Mr. Cyrus, let's hear from you, my friend.
Hi, Yanni. Hi, everybody. Doing? Hi, how's it going? You all right?
I'm all right, mate.
Good to see you guys. Annie, I think Joni was right. People do shake their booties sometimes. And I think Annie's being jealous because he can't shake his booty and get the results he wants anyway. So now, joking aside, I just wanted to first say hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Michelle B, Michelle Ramos, David, our coach, and Professor Roxana and Joni, who were on the stage as well. I just wanted to thank Ashif as well for his beautiful comments in the comment section. They're fantastic. Henry as well. Fantastic comments. Thank you. Regarding the subject matter that is being discussed, I'm not sure if you guys can see my screen. Can you see that? I hope you can. Michelle, can you see my screen?
I can.
We can. Sorry.
So I was gonna Yeah. So I was going to share my formula for law of compensation. It works for me. I hope it works for you guys as well. It's really good, especially if you're head of an organization or if you're a decision maker. So in this formula, I've got NAUCO. So let me give you an example. I'm going to give you two CEOs examples, and you can decide who's better. So how much they need you. The N stands for need. How much you are needed in that market. Okay, that decides how much your product, how much your service is needed. Times, it's a formula, right? So that N, need, times A, your abilities. Okay, so how much ability have you got, right? How good of a leader are you, right? And how good of an employee are you, right? Which in turn that decides whether you're going to be replaceable or not, right? How much is your ability? Then U stands for uniqueness, right, or replaceability. Is there only one or two of you in that organization, or is there more, or is there less, or are you the only person? That decides if they're gonna replace you or not. That can decide the future of your career as well. For those of you who are really, really reliant on your job, if you're the only breadwinner in the family, if you want to find out how fast you're going to get promoted or not promoted, or if you're going to get made redundant, this U bit is very important. Okay, so then the next one is times CO, consistency. So are you good this year and terrible next year, or are you good across the board every year, right? So that formula works. I'm going to post it in the comment section later anyway. So CEO number one, Sarah. She's CEO of a green energy startup. It's a company. So in terms of N, she scored 9 out of 10. Ability, 8 out of 10. And uniqueness, 7 out of 10. And consistency, 10 out of 10. She scored 9 times 8 times 7 times 10, 5,040. Then we have Mark, the second CEO. Again, out of 10, he scored 4.
Fire Mark, quick.
Yeah, sure. So, sure. So in the end, as you can see here, 1,800 for Mark and 5,040 for Sarah. So as you can see here, the formula, the law of compensation, right? It's not just a formula with one constituent. So you can be good in some areas, you can be bad in some areas. Okay, so the more the areas you're good at, the more chances of you staying in that position and ruling over that arena that you're supposed to be ruling over. So the result that I just put here is Sarah scores much higher because her work solves a bigger future-focused problem. And as you can see, Mark is the traditional office supply company, right? So there's many of them. They are very, very highly replaceable. If I don't get my stationery from this company, I'll get it from the next company, right? So it doesn't really matter. Plus, these days, we don't use stationaries that much. So as you can see, the future, Sarah is more future-oriented than Mark is, right? So how much you are needed is going to be a very important part of that formula that we talked about. So because I'm in Annie's session, may I please remind everyone?
Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com.
Thank you, Cyrus. You're a star. Look, I should tell them every time I play it, which is every live event I do, that you are the creator of that music. If you don't know my friends, he definitely is. But Cyrus, thank you so much. Look, you brought the law to to life with the formula. I say that gives you explained my thinking. I wish I'd spoken to you beforehand. Really, really. I wish and I want that calculation. Coach, I agree with you. That's a solid model for delivery, value delivery, Cyrus. It really is. And this. See, I guess many of us just, we think compensation is luck. We think compensation is haphazard. In reality, there's a formula. This is what my friend are talking about this today. You know, I've learned there's a formula, and there's a formula if you want more. You know, that's the point. Cyrus, you know, you do. Thank you so much for being a genius, my friend. You're a star. Michael, I want to hear from you. I haven't heard from you. Have we heard from you, Michael? At the beginning we did, I think, but then you fell off the stage. Michael, what's your thoughts so far? Well, we're getting towards the end. I can't keep you much longer, right? Michael, you're muted. Don't know whether we're going to get to Michael. Oh, Michael, you've unmuted. Talk to us. No, I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. Damn. Unfortunate. Really unfortunate. Now, please restart your device, Michael. We'd love to hear from you. So do restart your device and say, of course, you're still here. Coach says it calls it value engineering, right? Now, my friends, look, there's one part of things I really want. There's one part of this conversation I really want to elaborate on. You know, we'll talk about giving value, giving value, giving value, giving value, giving value. You give more, and you give more. No, you give value that way, right? That's what giving value really means. Give more than people expect. Give more than people pay you for. I go back to a lesson I learned very early in my business, which is that no one is going to pay you more unless you're willing to do more than they pay you for. You're never going to earn more than you do if you're not willing to do more than you're paid for. Right. That's the truth.
True story.
Truly. Right. You know, so how do we build on this giving more? There's formulas for everything, right? Now, if you want to give more.
And can I say something? I have literally, literally 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Michelle Ramos, I've not seen your face. Michelle Ramos, not seen your face, not heard your voice. How are you, by the way? Michael, good to see you here again. So it's a very brilliant strategy. The rule is when you give more, eventually your job has to also give you more back. It may not be from this employer. You now become a repository of value.
Hold on to that. That's it. That's it. He's got it. Yes. That's it.
Yes.
By law, if you do more,
competent,
what will come back at you? That's the law.
Yeah. Yes. Go get competent. Go get competent at a higher level. And Cyrus actually added another dimension. Make sure you are thinking about future value and direction of the industry beyond your current job spec. What are the new trends in the industry? What are they doing in the industry? What does AI mean to your industry, for example? What does global warming mean to your industry? Contextualize and reposit your position in the context of the big problems of society. Re-engineer the problem to a bigger scale and to a bigger space. Then the skill gap you need to grow in preparation for the future will immediately show up to you. If you keep doing the same job you've been doing repeatedly, look, I can't believe there are no typists anymore. There was a typing pool. I grew up in my secondary school days knowing the typing pool. There are going to be 100 typists in the place, typing. And it's a big deal. All of a sudden, the laptop came. And I remember my uncle telling me, oh, there will not be any typist anymore. And one of my late aunties, who was a typist and put a take notes in meetings, was telling him that he was talking about the rash. Now, this family meeting I held about 5 years ago, and that uncle was laughing at her and asking her, where are the typing pools now? She said, they still exist, but they are gone. So there are many job roles that are going to go extinct because of some of the conversations on the table. Today, copywriters in many agencies, because of ChatGPT alone, script writers must reinvent. So the future direction of where things are going is very important. And my dad tells me something all the time. He's an engineer. He says every 5 years, minimum, if not 2 years, you must do a knowledge audit, looking at the future, the industry, and how ready and relevant you still are. You may be on the job for 30 years and you're totally outdone. You're totally irrelevant and you don't even know So if you don't do more than the job you're paid for today, you are every day you don't do more than what the job spec says today. That day is -1 on the scale. You've gone to irrelevance more. You're becoming a dinosaur. Every day you do more, you've added +1 on that scale. Every second, every minute, the more you do more, the more you are getting ready and tuning up. And the more you do what is just required, you're so happy to go home at 5 p.m. So happy to do what is required. You are tuning out. You're getting lost gradually. One day, you either the job leaves you or you leave the job. So that's the bigger point on that. I need to go now on the hard leave.
Thank you
You
so
guys are
much.
superheroes.
Thank you so much. You're a star. I'm sure we're going to talk about this in one of your rooms soon, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Value is very
before
important.
before David goes, let me say one thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe he's been reading my notes and he's been copying me. Uh, I consider that copyright, you know,
It's got this
infringement.
bad habit. It's got this
So
bad habit of being a fly on the wall, right?
I think I'm owed money. Have a good
Thank
night,
you.
David. I'm
Thank you,
dreaming. I'm
Michael.
going to be dreaming of the money that you're going to be compensating me, and you should also do the same. And
All right,
yeah,
man. We need
I
to
think
work
we
more
can
together.
come to an agreement tomorrow. That's for sure.
Gentlemen agreement. Thank you, brother, man. Michelle Ramos, good to see you. Any Michelle P,
It's
God bless
always a
you.
pleasure to be on stage with you.
Oh, same here, same here. You guys are superheroes. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, guys.
Bye,
You
Coach
too.
David.
You too.
Thank you. Yeah, bye.
So, Michael, which of your notes didn't he steal?
I mean, good gosh, it's like all of them. This fellow David, he's just coming too close, you know. But it's also like, you know, just people want to be like me, you know. So I don't mind. Earlier today, Michelle was responding to you like as if she's me. It's fine by me also. Hey.
You copy Michael. Look, Coach Ashif again, and I'm with you entirely. When we align as this universe, it pays to match. When we align, when we work in line with our purpose, in our values, truly what's important to us, and when we live as our purpose and help the universe, it pays us back. That be the law of karma. What goes around comes around. Yeah, and the law of I'm sure that there's a law of reciprocity. You have to you give to receive. Not necessarily from the same person, but literally, when we give, the universe pays us back. Always does. It's for us to learn how to truly give, right? Again, let's say I want us to sort of go away with with things we can do. I was saying earlier, let's work out on a sheet of paper if you have to. It's just elaborating on Cyrus's formula. Where are you? What are your individual? What are your personal skills? What are your talents? Technical skills, give yourself a score. List what they are. Creative abilities, give yourself a score. Again, list what they are. Emotional intelligence. Which part are you good at? Are you good at self-awareness? Are you good at emotional regulation? Are you good at the motivation part? Are you good at the empathy? Are you good at social cues? Which maybe you want to do as a whole. Where are you in that characteristics? What are your personal strengths? What other gifts do you have? List them all, right? Once you listed them, my friends, now you want to ask yourself question number 2. Question number 2 is quite simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Here's the question. You need to ask the second question, the second column. Which of my offerings that you just listed truly make a difference to meeting the needs of the people that we serve and uplifting our communities? Which of those skills really do people really need? And then create in your mind's eye, envision the change that you can truly make, that you want to make, that you're willing to put effort into to bring into reality. And that's number 3. And the last one you have to do, my friend, is simply showcase your talents generously. Share them with others. Let people enjoy your talent. Let people enjoy your gifts. This is what it means, right? This is what it means to give more. Don't just sit there and letting your talents rot away or be underused or to underserve. See, when you truly know you and your personal gifts, when you truly align those gifts with serving people to meet their needs, when you think of change on a big scale, and when you have a personal brand, when you're known as a person who does that way, believe you me, opportunities will come to you that you've never dreamt of. And that cycle of reciprocity suddenly becomes real, it becomes a thing, right? It's by giving selflessly, ultimately, my friends. Give selflessly, and the universe will give back to you. That's the game. That's how you get paid more. Lower compensation in a simple nutshell, my friends. Michelle, you've been very quiet. Michelle Ramos, that is. So,
Oh, I was going to say.
What is it that you would like me to say?
are you agreeing? Does it make sense in your way of looking at the world?
Does what make sense?
Everything we covered so far.
I think that ultimately the work that you're doing is going to be dependent on what it is that the purpose is. You're either working to live or you're living to work. When I work to live, that sucks, and it's not ever going to be financially compensated. It's going to be survival mode, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But when you are working and it doesn't feel like work, and you are positively impacting, society and future generations to come, what money value are you going to put on that? And for me, it is my self-worth is not to be determined by any outside source, because don't nobody know the steps I've walked and endured to make a decision on what I'm worth.
Yeah. Look, I agree entirely. Look, now there is that whole fulfillment thing, that personal, I guess, the thing that gives us joy, right? We have to work
It
on
isn't even
alignment.
joy, because the cost emotionally you pay to be encouraged and disciplined to follow through with a conviction to live in your purpose. That's what I'm saying. The financial value to tie on that is what makes me unaffordable. I have the knowledge I have because of the pain I have survived.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and look, that pain is valuable, right? Let's be sure that the what we learn through life makes us who we are. And we have to learn to bring those qualities into our work. So again, a lot of people don't bring their true selves, their full selves to work, right? So I think we need to learn how to truly be.
I think that that's a very unfortunate thing, and that more of humanity globally really should start looking in the mirror and taking off the mask that they wear at home, even once they're no longer in front of society.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I don't know whether they're unwilling to ask the next question, Michelle, which is, how can I use this to help others? How can I truly build on this to change the world? Because
The thing is, it all boils back down to looking in a mirror. If you cannot look in a mirror at the end of your day, and you cannot truly look yourself in that reflection and say, I did my best, there was nothing better I could do. And then when you wake up the next day, that's the same intention. As long as you have done your best, what does it matter what any outside reflection is? Only you know what your best is. Only you know how you feel. Like, it's subjective.
Yeah, subjective. No, but I think the subjective requires personal honesty. Are you with me? We have to be honest with ourselves because so if we don't
There's not
do,
many humans truly 100% authentically honest with themselves. Hence, I live a very, my life is in solitude for the most part for that reason. I can't handle misconceptions and white lies and fabrications. Like, fuck that. Be real. Keep it 100.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. Let me show you a video quick before we can wind up. Of course, Michelle B, I'll come to you as well. Let me show you this video quick. I think it makes the points. One of my learning pieces for today. Yeah, it's the right one. I think it is. Let's do share. Let's do play. Hopefully, there won't be any ads. Hopefully. I don't know.
To do it. Get really good at it. Now, if you get very good at it, the third one's going to be looked after. You're going to be very difficult to replace. Very difficult to replace. Let's reverse the whole thing. Let's suppose there's not a great need for what you do, and you don't even do what you do very well, and you'd be very easy to replace. Well, I mean, you just couldn't earn very much money. But if there's a great need for what you do, and you're very good at it, you're going to be very difficult to replace. Your stock is going to go up. Now, I didn't always know this. I went to work for Earl Nightingale, and he referred to this as the formula for increasing the amount of money you earn. And when he first talked about it, I thought, that sounds like a good thing to know. And so I started to study it. And I never stopped studying it. And I'm absolutely fascinated with just how accurate this is. And the really crazy part about it, not many people understand it. Now, that may sound strange, but there are not many people who understand. They do not teach this in school. Most families don't teach it to the kids. So the odds of a person learning it is very slim. Now, you may think this is, sort of Pollyanna, or maybe not that important. I'd recommend you really think about what I'm saying. It's helped me earn millions of dollars. I started out with nothing. I started out reading this book. I was earning $4,000 a year. Within a year, I had multiplied what I was earning by over 40 times. Now think, there's no end to what you can earn. There's no end to what you can do. If you really want to multiply your income, pay attention to this law. I will repeat it once more. The amount of money you earn is always going to be in exact ratio to number one, the need for what you do, number two, your ability to do it, and number three, the difficulty there is in replacing you. It's a great law. It's one that we want to make certain all our children understand. It's one that we want to adhere to. Multiply your income. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.
I do start my day with Bob Proctor most days. Because I guess my mindset school. He's the one that's created my mindset school, and I'm learning mindset from. So I am truly always amazed, to learn from him. He passed away recently. But from those who are from the Bob Proctor school, we know the value we get. LinkedIn user, thank you for joining us. I have no idea who LinkedIn user is. Yeah, it could be Christiana.
I think my answer to that is that I'm an anomaly, and I'm just
why are you an anomaly?
I mean, who the else gets stabbed at 8, wakes up with a colostomy, loses their memory, 3 hip surgeries with 3.5 years in a wheelchair, learned to walk again, weighed 500 pounds, maintained a 280-pound weight loss for 10 years, had 12 brain surgeries and brain shunt revisions, and the list still goes on. That isn't even everything.
like I said earlier, I'm hoping LinkedIn users, Christiana. Like I said earlier, we are the product of our experiences. And what I know of you, Michelle, which I'm sure many people know, but I know too well. I know very well. You are super talented at especially creating those strategies, thinking deeply about the topic, and then coming up with a plan.
It's really just reverse engineering.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's a skill. It fits the formula, Michelle. It fits into you have the skills that people want, that people need, right? You're doing something that people need. Whether you're using tools that you know how to manipulate better than others, which I know I know you do. I'm saying that's a skill in itself, right? And you are brilliant at doing what you do. And I don't work with people who are not very good at what they do, Michelle. I really don't, because it costs me money, it costs me time, and that upsets my little spirit. The very little spirit that I have.
Listen, I love you, and we do great work. Even those, 3 a.m. misalignments sometimes. I don't. It is what it is.
Nothing is mutual. Look, I don't race statistics can't live without you. Again,
And I can't live without don't raise statistics.
Yeah, but you are the brand. You are indispensable to the mission.
I'm the personal and professional all in one that everybody says is not possible.
Right. I'm saying that's the point, right? That's why I know, and I hope you don't doubt that the money will come, because the money will come.
No, not never. $14 trillion circles the world every single day digitally. Money is not our world's problem.
I agree.
It's humanity.
Totally agree. Exactly. And you are the person who has a wherewithal to do this. This is why I think the topic matters so much. A lot of people wonder, why do they look like they're having such a good time making life so easy? They don't realize that we have to go that extra mile. Michelle B as well. We don't tell the world what yous are doing enough, if you ask me. That's why I talked about personal branding earlier. I'm saying we need to learn to tell the world, that the world realizes you are that person.
I think they realize it.
They're getting there. They're getting there slowly, Michelle.
I mean, the realization of who Michelle Ramos is, when it's actually realized, can be a very intimidating and scary thing. And I'm okay with that.
I think you have to be okay with it. You have to embrace your greatness. This is part of my conversation today. Embrace your greatness and embrace your uniqueness. Embrace your specialness, and expect the world to reward you accordingly. My frustration is that maybe there's two types. There's the ones who say, "Oh, I want more." I'm like, "Are you doing more?" No. Then don't want more. You have no right to want more. Don't listen to me, but I'm saying, you do you, but you're not going to get more because you're not willing to do more, right? And then there's the other lot who say, "Oh, it's not working. Why isn't it working any?" I'm like, are you doing more? Are you offering your customers more than others? Are you doing more? It's like a cyclical argument, right? Unless you're willing to do more, you're not going to get more. If you want more, do more. Damn, it's so easy. It sounds so that is a longer short of it. And people do this every day, and they get more because the universe always pays those who meet the criteria. Do something that people need. Be the best at it, or the best in your ability.
I mean, that there's one thing you're forgetting.
What's that?
Is when you're looking in that mirror and it's that self-reflection. Like, ask yourself, do you love you? Because the whole time I was seeking outside validation, I hated myself. And the moment I started living in my purpose and doing what felt right for me, I love myself, and I could give two shits less who doesn't love me.
You know, again, that is so important, Michelle. You know, if you don't love you, if you don't love you, if you don't love the person you are, if you don't love what you do, what you bring, who you be, what you do, if you don't love, now, if you have any doubt there, like I said earlier, you're telling the world, I'm not sure. And when you tell the universe, I'm not sure, guess what the universe will say? Oh, I'm not sure either. You know, so go with total confidence and total, yeah, how to put it, total joy of who you are, and give your gifts to the world. If that's your intention, you will make the money. It might take long. Nothing wrong. It's not. I didn't say it's going to be easy. It might take long to get people to actually pay attention to you, and maybe start giving you the rewards you need. But like I said earlier, the rewards don't always come from our pay. You know, the rewards will come from people who give you a bigger stage to shine. Whether that's speaking
The
gigs,
rewards come through the healing.
yeah, that's one of them. But so the financial reward will come in many ways. If you know, the way I learned it, Michelle, is simply don't try and pour into a closed cup. Nothing goes in. You have to be open to receive, to get the compensation that you want. And that means adhering to the law of compensation and being that good person that you were born to be, that you are. Be that person. And as Christiana says, embrace your greatness or any will tell you off. You know, no one sees me doing this with Christiana. They don't know how much I go to truly. So there's some people, if I could shake them by a tree, do something. You know, I try without shaking them like a tree. Thank goodness we work remotely these days, right? No, it's true. Look, you know, so this conversation I have with many of my clients in one way or another. Some get it, some don't get it. So I'm hoping from today's videos and from today's recording, people who don't get it, go and watch it again. You know, of course, now get in touch with me, get in touch with the Michelles, get in touch with Coach David. We'll happily share. To get in touch with Cyrus, Michael included. You know, get in touch. You know, talk to people. Don't just sit there and I guess is it suffer in silence? It feels like it. Don't suffer in silence at all. Embrace your greatness. Get out there and find out who can help you to reach more people.
I'm the last one at the bottom of the list to get in touch with.
No. Michelle should be number one. No, and put me at the bottom. I'm quite busy. I got things to do, right? I'm not saying you don't, Michelle's. I'm saying I'm busy.
Tell me the phone.
It's not. I am very busy. I have a lot on my plate, and I need intentional conversations. So it's not disrespect. It's just, if it's really not intentional and really global human impacting, I ain't got time for it.
Yeah, maybe I'm trying to get to another point in your personal compass.
Well, I know, but some people send really rude messages because you don't connect. So I
like
to be transparent.
Don't talk to them. I'm talking to them. I'm saying show love. Look, the important people, Michelle, are the ones you're here to serve. They're the ones that count the most. Your employer almost doesn't count because, as we've talked about today, your employer will pay you whether you turn up or not most of the time. They'll pay you whether you do great work or not. They'll pay you as long as you just do what they tell you to do, right? Whereas the real you, the real us, uses their gifts. We find a way to use our gifts to help people in a way they really need, right? I'm saying, if someone's not in your target audience, Michelle, I don't give them time of day. That's just me. That I'm harsh. If you're, I love friends, but if you're not a useful friend, you see me start pulling away slowly but surely, and I'll be gone. It sounds harsh, but that's how I am.
But you call me harsher than you at our 2 a.m. calls, so
Only because you don't connect with anyone, and you don't want to talk to. You do want to talk to them. I'm sure you do. You want to talk to the nice ones, but you have to talk to. You have to kiss enough frogs to find the nice one. You have to kiss enough frogs before you find out which one's the prince in all of those frogs. That's what I'm saying. Analogy, Michelle Ramos. I'm not saying I'll kiss frogs or trying to find the prince. I'm just saying, learn to love them all, Michelle, and then they will come. Some will come good for you. Sarah says, "Don't waste time seeking validation. You succeed without outside validation. You really can."
Yes, me and him have had great conversations about that.
No, you really can. It's not you can. You must develop that inner personal belief about who you are. That's why when somebody, your personal compass, it means something. That's what carries you through, right? Say the person who has a doubt, who thinks, "Oh, I'm not sure. Am I really?" So that person is probably stuck. But we have to have that gusto. We are that person. The world will see that I'm that person, eventually. As long as it takes, I'll just keep delivering to those I serve, and eventually the world will take notice. As someone who's been in business for 10 years, that's my journey. For years, no one cared. Yes, I had to learn how to talk my client's language. That's why I talk about making you famous these days. I had to find the service that people really need. People need marketing, but the people are not willing to pay for marketing, right? What people are willing to do, they want to get you help to publish their books. Yeah, I'll do that. They want bestsellers. Guess who can do those things? Only I can. No, really. I'm saying there's publishers we know many publishers, right? They're good. I have no problem with them at all. But what I've done is made myself indispensable. Those who want what I do, before they used to argue, marketing, how much? I can do it myself. Bestseller, only I can do it. Only I can give you a guaranteed service. And every time I do it, I get the result my clients want and more. That's my learning, and that's how I fit myself into this picture. Cyrus, share with us, please.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, perfectly.
Hi, yeah.
Perfect.
First of all, excuse my disheveled looks today. So,
I love it.
Not in a good way.
I'm just like, look at him. I want to take him home.
All right, so I just wanted to make you guys smile a bit. The conversation was getting a little bit too serious. Life becomes better when you stop taking yourself too seriously. Yeah, take your goals seriously, not yourself, right? So, as I posted in the comments, the only source of validation should be yourself. You can still succeed with or without outside validation. You shouldn't focus on it. Validation is just for parking, isn't it? It's just for, when you park your car and you have to validate that ticket. So now we're more than just parking tickets, aren't we?
Yes.
So some people may agree with what you're saying. Some people may not agree with what you're saying. But if you're a parent, or if you're not a parent, for the next generation, when they're looking back, you do not want to be the loser who never tried, because only losers never try. If you try, and if you succeed, or you don't succeed, it doesn't really matter if you don't succeed. And eventually, 100 years from now, it doesn't even matter if you succeed either, right? So in 250 years, 300 years, everything you have, everything you own, everything you are, will be forgotten. Do you know who your grandparents are? Of course not, right? So the same thing will happen in a few generations, right? So what really matters is now, here and now, right? And it should matter to you, to yourself, because in 200, 300 years, everything you have, and everything you know, and everybody you know will be forgotten, right? So that's why people use the expression "as far as I can remember," because we can't remember everything forever, right? So that, well, then again, I could be right, could be wrong. I'm only human. That's my view. That's what I've learned, right? And it's very limited.
I
And
love it, Cyrus.
and every time I think I know a lot, my mom reminds me, you don't know enough.
You know,
You don't know.
I loved how you put everything, because I understood everything you said. I really loved it. And I've always felt with the universe, whatever you put out, you get back. So if you put out, I hate you to someone, you're going to get, I hate you right back. If you put out, I love you, you're going to get, I love you too right back. And I've had to live that way my whole life. And then my grandma introduced me to Bob Proctor. And
So listen, like all of you guys on the stage know, it's like literally two things. Is I only care that when I'm gone and dead, I know Angelina will say I was proud of my mom. And I know that everything I do is for legacy building.
I love that.
I
And
love
look,
this. It's
again,
fantastic.
yeah, true. I think we will need to get into legacy building mode, Michelle. I'll say that for sure. Now that's how we're going to get remembered in 300 years, Cyrus. Let's build. Let's go big. Let's impact the world.
Well, if you get big enough to make it impossible for people to remember to forget you in 300 years, now that's a legacy, right?
That's a legacy.
Yeah.
You know, I know someone who did something that people are still referring to it after 2,500 years. Literally, that's metaphorical. He didn't literally turn water into wine, but
yeah,
we are still talking about what he did and the rest of the stuff that he did, right? So I'm not going to get religious on you guys, but
I'm halfway there with my 150-year blueprint.
But I'm going to say this. I'm going to finish on this. There's two versions of you. So three actually. One that you are now, one that you could be, and the version that other people see. The version that other people see, there's nothing you can do about that. The version that you are is the result of the stuff that you've done already. There's very little you can do about that either, because it's the result of what's happened in the past. But this is where things get exciting. What you could do and what you could be in the future, hopefully in the near future, that is where the excitement comes in. I am excited for what's going to happen tomorrow. I am excited for what I've not done yet. And when people listen to your work or to my podcast, I always tell them our best work is the next episode.
It's true. It's true. Christiana jumping up and down. Jesus. Yeah. Okay, Christiana. You get a prize. It's a very small prize, but you get a prize, right? Now, Cyrus, I think it's a good way to end our conversation. But it is about daring to have impact that we're gifted to have. This room is a Being Your Authentic Self and Business room, and it's based on two sets of topics, really: business growth and mindset. When you realize business growth is 98% mindset, 2% skills. That's why I don't talk skills most of the time. Your mindset is where it's at. And so whether you think you can, you think you can't, you're right. So it's better to go with that. You think you can, right? And we really can change the world. Now, all of us can. We really can, really.
Yes.
I would love everyone to believe what you just said, Cyrus. Your future self, which starts today, can have all that you dream of, all that you want. If only you believe that, and those who do believe that, their life changes. They have to follow a few simple principles, and there's 12 universal laws. But Proctor's mindset coaching has 12 chapters. It's not rocket science. And look, the day before I heard about mindset, I read The Secret and I thought, this sounds interesting, but I was just trying to stay happy, right? And then when you start learning about mindset properly from a coach, like having the coach Ashley, for example, from like Donna, your life would change instantly. It's hard to explain. My personal life is happier. Everything's working. My business is working. There was a time when it wasn't working. I thought I probably won't survive another month. But I love the moment when I had to find an answer. So the mindset part of my learning is what's transformed everything. You can be the same for you, for anyone. I truly believe that. That's why I talk about in these rooms, right? But look, thank you so much, everyone. I can't thank you enough. It's nearly 3 hours of our time, honestly. How do we do it? Christiana, thank you so much. You're a star. So sadly, we haven't got our room tomorrow, Christiana and I. So now we're having a week off because life has gotten in the way. But we'll be back after that. Try and do one of our miscarriage and baby loss rooms next week. And then we'll have a bigger plan, I think. That's what we're working on. But thank you so much, everyone. I can't thank you enough. Enjoy your night. So Stanley's room starts an hour and a half. So do join us. I think Power Think is always a good place to be. If you haven't joined before, I'm sure we'll share the link with you and do join us. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. I think we're talking bullying next week, right? We'll talk about bullying in your let's talk neurodivergence room next week.
Yeah, we're doing bullies.
Yeah, bullying. How do we tackle them?
And I want to borrow Cyrus's little guy right there.
I need to the stress reliever.
It is. I'm like
just the hog. That's it.
Michelle, Michelle Ramos, you don't like that sort of thing. It's not a duck, so leave it alone. Is it a duck? No, it's not a duck.
No, not a duck.
The duck, I think, is going to become the Cathartic Catalyst's new logo at some point. Let me get through this DRS rebranding, and just give it a few days. Watch out next week. We'll see what next week.
The duck lady, honest. That's how I call you from now on. The duck lady.
This little guy's name is Orgavino, by the way.
I love Davino. I wish it was real. We need to market it as a real animal, like stuffed animal.
Orgavino. ORGAVINO.
What is it?
Orgavino.
That's the name of this.
Where's one of your clever videos, Sarah? I'm surprised you're not playing it. So I can give you a few seconds.
Which video was it? The last one I made?
Yeah, any of them, I think, just to give people an impression of the quality and the message.
Yeah, sure.
That you're dropping. So someone tried to bully me recently. Would you believe? No, I don't believe that. So that's just so out of order, right? Well, don't be having it. Really not. So but join us and then let's share some
adults
strategy.
are worse than kids sometimes.
Yeah, no, for sure. A lot of people are mean. And again, they're the ones who don't deserve to get paid more because they're not giving value. They're sapping people's energies, people's joy. Sarah, are you going to put a video on screen or are you going to?
Yeah.
Okay. And so again, Christiana says, Michelle B and Cyrus, when are we catching up? Why am I saying it for her when she's here?
More wine, more positive, less negatives, less additives, less preservatives. When you share your wine with your friends, family, or your relatives, you pour and share a bottle because you want good vibes and other positives.
We're not seeing the video.
Healthy and delicious, just hollow adjectives. If the wine you're sipping is packed with...
Oh, did you say one of the... Okay.
The video. Yeah, that'll be that.
Okay.
They can see... it's Orgavino. They can see it, definitely on there you go.
Oh, wow.
She doesn't exist, by the way.
You know what, though? That is just beautiful. It's very clever.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, if that didn't just... And I don't drink wine, like I said. I think I like it on salad.
Unhealthy food into non-healthy.
That's brilliant.
I love
Let me show you what Annie was talking about, because I sent
Cristiano, why are you
this
not
is really
stage?
funny, this one.
Cristiano, you're on stage now.
There we go.
I know.
Oh, that's
I swear the bottle got bigger.
wow, look what he's doing with that on his finger. Wow, unless they turn water into wine. That is wow. That's
Right.
I love your, what, I've always thought wine videos and everything are very classy. And I don't have the palate unless it's on a salad.
Pallets made of wine. You just drink it, are you? At the palate. I don't know how to have conversation about wine. I just drink
No,
it.
I am such a lightweight. One, like even a half a glass of wine would just leave me laughing on the floor.
Annie, I think it's on the screen now. I'm not sure if it's there or not. Yeah.
No, it's now.
Memory escapes. Love wine, but wine without a story is just fermented grapes. Unless they turn water into wine, the memory escapes. Love wine, but wine without a story is just fermented grapes. Unless
Hi,
Yeah, that's it.
Cyrus.
That is honestly, I would go buying the wine bottle just because I like and it's a very classy wine bottle. I do, like I said, I think wine bottles and everything are very classy. It's not like your Jack Daniels,
That's what I like. I might drink Jack Daniels thanks because I know I can get proper hammered and then be asleep within within a few minutes. That's my thing, right? Look, Cyrus, Michelle, subscribe to Cyrus's newsletters and his updates.
Hi, Cyrus. Hi,
Hiya.
Annie. Hi,
How's it going,
Michelle.
Christina?
Hi,
Hello,
Michelle.
Christiana. How are you?
I am awesome. Thank you. Great
You
to
I miss
are.
you.
be here.
Christiana, I miss you.
I know I miss you too. We're supposed to be having a catch up. I think we need to arrange a catch up at some point.
Call me woman. Don't call me a woman. I mean, call me, come on, woman.
I love you guys. Call me.
When I call you, there's a woman in your life that's more important than me, and that's your mother. So I can't.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, when you called me, I was talking to my mom, and
Exactly.
when I'm talking
Who
to
comes
that,
first?
yeah, when I'm talking to that fierce woman, there's no interruption. Sorry.
I wouldn't dare interrupt that conversation.
Yeah, I was connected to the source.
That is awesome.
I mean, she's the reason why I'm still single. Every girl I end up with, she brings me back to the manufacturer with a massive complaint.
Sell my date. I cannot be even with you guys.
Honestly.
Sell my date. Think about it.
Honestly.
Cyrus, my son says the same thing. My 25-year-old, my Bryson, my middle son, he's just like, no, I can't get married. Have you met my mom?
Poor child.
No, honestly, my mom's brilliant.
Well, I feel bad about that.
Honestly, she's funny in more than one language, so that's what I like about her.
I love
of course,
that.
she swears in more than one language too, of course.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Christiana, what do you want to share with us? Who dared to bully you? Did they really?
No, they tried, but they didn't succeed. I know where the bodies are buried. I'm joking.
I know where the bodies are buried. Have you been to our mining towns lately? I'm sorry.
That's what I said to them.
I'll be good. I'll be good.
I am
Don't
trying
bring
to
out
be
the
good.
passion.
It's like, excuse me, do you know who you were talking to? That's all she had to say. Like, who are you talking to?
Right. Do you know who I am?
Right.
Oh, goodness me. I tend to reserve my whipping for later. Literally.
Well, no, someone's actually said
Friday
that
night.
before.
Friday night, Christiana, is not the same Christiana we see all week. I'm sure it is.
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, look at that.
You're always nice, unless you're not.
This,
And then
this is I always am. That's the reason why there are no bodies hanging around, dead somewhere.
they've been hidden and buried.
Too
Right.
nice.
Yeah. Now, what's your take on our conversation about compensation? Now you were here
Goodness.
for right?
Yes, compensation. It's a good one. I think the biggest thing about compensation for me, I agree with what Michelle Ramos said, is legacy. The whole purpose of compensation, and if it's not in your mind, let it be in your mind, is the legacy that we leave. And most people might believe legacy is something that is a plaque on the wall or plaque on the benches when we're dead and gone. Actually, your legacy is right now, and after you're gone, it continues to breathe life and it continues to live and not exist. So it's really important. And also I agree, validation shouldn't come from anybody else. Not even yourself should you be seeking validation for yourself, because it begins with knowing who you are and understanding your purpose and why you're here. And the three things that Bob Proctor spoke about is the reason why we can even dare to ask for more with what we are doing, being able to one, I guess you can phrase it in the terms of niche, being that niche in your the best heard, because it's not the best that always gets what they want or gets paid the most. It's the best known and the best heard that gets to command that fee. That's why it's important that we remain visible.
Yeah. The personal branding I was talking about, package yourself and make sure everyone knows. Put yourself out there.
Yes, get your wine bottles out. I'm joking.
but that comes from helping more people. I'm agreeing.
Is it the weekend already, Christiana?
Sorry?
Is it the weekend already?
Oh,
no,
it's always a weekend to me. What can I say?
It's
always 5 p.m. somewhere.
Every day's a weekend.
It's Wednesday.
Why wait for the weekend when you can have it right now?
I got books to publish, so
yes.
I can't be drinking Sapporo Sarafino. So Saporafino. My eyesight's terrible.
That's Sapporo Soprafino. That's how Italians say it.
Sapporo
Soprafino. That's
I'm
exquisite
English.
taste.
I'm British. Don't forget, as Coach keeps reminding me.
It's all right. I'm sure someone's going to find a cure for that.
We forgive you. We forgive you.
Oh my gosh, funny. I love you guys, but you know what? I got to go water grapes because I've got water backed up out there. Annie, I told you an hour ago I had to go be a water.
Yes, no, thank you so much. Thank you.
We'll catch up, Michelle. By the way,
definitely.
I just saw the neighbor rancher driving by the house. That's why I just looked out the window and he's probably like, why doesn't she have her water gates open yet?
Does he sound like that?
Yeah, he does. He's mean. He's 97. And he's a dick.
Yeah. That's his legacy.
Yeah, and he has only one leg, and I didn't know this. No, and I didn't know this because he does have a fake leg. And so he did jump down into the ditch one day, right? And I had walked away from the ditch to where I could only see his head. And as I was walking up to the ditch, he threw his leg up on the top of the bank. And I started screaming. And he had his hand down. He's all, help me out. And here's this fake leg sitting there. And I didn't know what to do. I was just like,
Eddie, you can't write the scripts, can you?
You really can't. This is why I say we always need speak to come on stage.
I think Michelle should write. I think Michelle should write because the way you're looking at things is beautiful. I love it.
You know, just wait. It gets better. He's walking towards his truck one day, and I'm looking out my window, and I see him walking towards his old truck. Well, here comes his little dog. He takes off his leg and he swings at it, and I'm just like, oh my god! I'm like, I don't know. So am I scared of him? It's not that I'm scared of him, but that leg.
Be scared of the leg. Be scared of his leg for sure.
My neighbor Michelle, we had a neighbor and he had this prosthetic nose.
Oh.
And they looked for him and they couldn't find him. anywhere, and they think he was dead or something, and you know, the police went to the house, and guess what they found?
His nose.
Nobody knows.
I knew we were going somewhere untoward.
Yeah, I set her up, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Like a keeper. Michelle, enjoy your evening. So enjoy your watering. Michelle Ramos has turned into a duck, which is
I
always
love
amazing.
her ducks because she always has.
I like that
my
duck.
duck.
That's
Bye,
brilliant.
Michelle. No, we're
What's
going now
up,
anyway. So
duck?
we're going.
Take
Guys, it
care.
was a pleasure meeting you here.
Yeah.
Good to see you all.
Please,
2 weeks time, my friends. If you're on,
Christiana,
if you're on
call me
replay,
as soon as you want. And Annie, it was a pleasure. Michelle,
always
thank you.
a joy.
Michelle,
Thank
thank
I
you.
will.
Have a good
Michelle,
one,
we'll
guys.
speak soon.
Bye,
Bye,
Take good care of
I'll
yourself.
speak soon too. Take care.
Every step
Bye.
forward is a new beat to your drama. She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.com.